To be a Steeler is to consider others before you consider yourself. To protect your brother, even from himself. To give support at your own expense. And when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, and make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steeler is to consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture. Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the Steel Twins.
We were muted the whole fucking
god, dude.
We were muted the whole fucking... It's been that kind of day, guys. It's been that kind of fucking day. Swear jar. It's been that day.
How we feeling?
How we feeling, man? I can't
12 hours removed from the news that broke at 6:30 in the morning. I was actually at work at that time, pulling an extra shift. I think you were on your way to work.
I was on my way to work. I didn't know this hit until you called me at 9 o'clock.
I got out. I finished. And I called him. I said, yeah, did you see the news? He's like, no, what news? I said, bro, the Steelers traded away George Pickens.
And you know what my initial reaction was? My initial reaction was, why now? Why? Why now? It's not that I have a problem with trading Pickens. I was always open to the idea of trading George Pickens. And I'll get into why. My question now is why? Why now? Who the fuck is her number 2? Robert Woods? Yes. A 33-year... Yo, that hurts my sides.
No way.
That actually hurt my sides.
No way, dude.
Guys, yes. There's so much going through my mind right now. We literally had all day to ponder on this news. All day. Why would they trade him now? I don't know why. Why wouldn't you trade him during the draft, or why wouldn't you draft a wide receiver if you planned on trading George Pickens? There were trade calls regarding the Steelers and multiple teams, the Cowboys included, during the NFL draft. The Steelers made numerous calls during day 2 to see what they could offer, what teams could offer, what they could get for George Pickens.
That's right.
Obviously, they wanted to get a day 2 pick. No team would budge.
Not at that point.
Until the Cowboys, who I believe, according to Diana Ruzzini, originally offered a 4th round pick.
Yes, they offered a 4th round pick, according to her, and Jerry Jones and company stepped up their offer to land George Pickens. 2 weeks
2 weeks after
the NFL draft.
Now, why do they trade George Pickens? Why do the Steelers entertain? Why do the Steelers officially trade George Pickens away from the Steel City? It's pretty easy to answer. He's immature. He's a character on and off the field.
I mean, he had issues with the coaches. Remember the report about Zach Asani?
Yes.
Putting him in his place, and Pickens had I guess a temper tantrum in practice and whatnot.
Well, also, he showed up late for meetings.
Yes.
Obviously, his body language on the field wasn't there.
And interviews as well. I mean, he didn't even want to be there.
He never gave it 110% consistently. When he gave it 110%, he was one of the best football players out there.
And that's the thing about Pickens. We have always stated, and we all know his talent is out of this world. The guy's an athlete. The guy's a tremendous talent. He's still only 24 years old.
The guy has elite potential. I've always said, give him a competent quarterback, give him competent coaching, and see what he does. You give him Josh Allen, you give him Patrick Mahomes, you give him Joe Burrow, you give him Lamar Jackson, you give him any guy that's really good in this league. George Pickens is going to be a great wide receiver, and he still will be with the Cowboys. The Cowboys aren't going to win anything. Hate to break that to you guys, and neither are we, obviously. We never were, but they're not going to win anything. But George Pickens is probably going to have a much better career over there, being the fact that he actually has a decent, I do say decent, quarterback in Dak Prescott. He has someone he can feed off of with CeeDee Lamb.
He's got a pass-heavy, orientated type of offense. They're very pass-heavy. They love to pass the football. Dak loves to pass the ball.
But that's where his fit in Pittsburgh didn't match. Did he have a lot of great games? Was he going to be a great receiver if he stayed? I do believe so. But clearly, the Steelers aren't pass-orientated. They don't pass the ball as often as they should. They have no quarterback still. They don't. And Pickens, clearly, with however many years he's been with the team since being drafted, obviously his body language on the field, his energy with his routes, or with how he would just play on the field in terms of blocking or whatever, it just wasn't always there. That's why they traded George Pickens. They want guys on the field, they want guys in the locker room that want to be there, that are going to give it 110% every single down. Pickens wasn't that guy, which is why I didn't mind trading him. I was always open to trading away George Pickens because I would be cool if he stayed. I'd be cool if he was traded. The Steelers traded him to the Dallas Cowboys for a 2026 third-round pick and some pick swaps for day 3 in 2027.
Yeah, if you want to know the full details, I got it right down here. Just give me 1 second here. Yeah, here it is. Steelers receive a 2026 third-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick.
Wow.
The Cowboys receive George Pickens and a 2027 sixth-round pick. That's it. That's all it took.
That's all it took. It's solid value for his stature, for, you know, what he brings to the table.
It's not terrible compensation.
But again, I have no problem trading Pickens, but I have a problem with trading Pickens and not having his replacement. You trade for DK Metcalf.
Yeah, after last year, which was an absolute wreck at wide receiver, it was just George Pickens and everybody else. We had Van Jefferson starting at wide receiver,
right,
every single game, did nothing, and then the Steelers finally have an opportunity to fulfill the wide receiver position completely, get a true number 1 and number 2. That's what they did when they traded for Metcalf almost 2 months ago.
And now they trade away George Pickens, and they are in the same position they were at the wide receiver room this time last year. Only they have a much better number 1 wide receiver in DK, because DK is better than Pickens, which is why the Steelers traded for DK.
And gave him that big contract. But the thing as well is that they also got older at wide receiver.
They did. They always were going to trade Pickens, clearly. They had talks. They reached out. They reached out to teams. Pickens didn't request a trade. They reached out, and teams reached out back. So the Steelers always planned on trading Pickens because of his character issues, because of his body language and his effort on and off the field, everything. Plus, obviously, you know, they were going to have to pay a minimum $25 million, which the Steelers could have afforded. But I think it says a lot that if they can afford Pickens and they still don't want him in the locker room, that says a lot about his character and how the Steelers want to change that in the locker room, which isn't a bad thing. I don't entirely disagree with it. I just disagree with the fact that you trade him and you don't have nobody to replace him. You don't draft a receiver. You don't trade him during the draft and then draft a receiver. We have nobody now. We are in the same boat as last year. We got a great number one, a better number one in DK, and a former Rams wide receiver as the number 2, and Robert Woods.
Yeah.
We got Calvin Austin as the slot guy in a contract year. Roman Wilson in his second year.
Coming off injury, an injury-riddled rookie season.
But he had, 5 snaps in his entire rookie year? One game he played versus the Raiders. 5 snaps. That is it. Not one catch. I have as many NFL catches as Roman Wilson.
Yeah, I could say the same thing. Here's the actual Steelers wide receiver room as we sit currently today. DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Robert Woods, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, Scotty Too Hottie, Ben Skoranek, Brandon Johnson, Lance McCutcheon.
Who? Don't forget Rock Taylor, an undrafted free agent.
Rock Taylor.
But if you're expecting like a Victor Cruz type of situation that the Giants got in 2010, I'd lower my expectations. Who the hell are we going to have replace George Pickens this year? Who?
The only one I can think of, and it's been reported by Jeremy Fowler himself, the Steelers are really looking to take a chance and looking for a year 2 jump from Roman Wilson.
I still like Roman Wilson. People forget he had 12 touchdowns in his last year in Michigan, where Michigan won the championship. He had 12 touchdowns in a run-heavy scheme over at Michigan in his last year. Great slot guy, speed, route running ability, strong hands. He's got the tools.
If you're not down with that, we've got 2 words.
Elijah with a 20. I know we weren't going to do shit this year, but good grief, if we're going to trade Pickens, why didn't we draft another wide receiver? Plus, we couldn't get a second-round pick instead of a third. Really? Damn it, this team pisses me off. I guess not.
See, with the character issues and the attitude concerns and whatnot with Pickens, I don't think the team was ever going to get a second. I'm sure that they were hopeful. I'm sure that they tried. They were never going to get a second-round pick. I don't think that was going to happen.
No.
They got a third. The Cowboys, of all teams, budged. They said, all right, we really want this guy. We'll take a chance on him. We'll take him off your hands. It's just now, 2 weeks after the draft.
Yeah, the timing is incredibly inconvenient. Who the hell?
Now.
Are we going to sign, what, Gabe Davis, who just got cut by the Jags? We going to sign him?
Run the ball!
Yeah, we're going to have to run the ball.
Shout out to Alex Watson. Became an team member. Appreciate you, Alex.
Yeah, Caleb Johnson season upcoming. It's going to have to be.
Mark Caboli said Mike Tomlin led the effort to trade George Pickens. Really?
Is that right?
Wow. Mike Tomlin showing some balls. I guess he got tired of George Pickens' antics. I guess he's like, man, I dealt with Antonio Brown. I dealt with all these guys. I'm tired of it.
Dealt with Deontay Johnson. Dealt with Chase Claypool.
What do they all have in common? Martavis Bryant. What do they all have in common? Traded. Which is probably one of the biggest reasons why they traded Pickens, is because they want a fresh sweep in that locker room. Omar Khan is trying to essentially empty the funk that was Kevin Colbert's last several draft classes, which involved a lot of guys with drama at the wide receiver position, which involved a lot of busts.
Yeah, that 2022 draft class.
Garbage. Jeremy with it too. Amari Cooper still out there. I keep forgetting he's out there.
Yeah,
He's a good veteran presence.
Yes, Amari Cooper's still out there.
Really?
Yes. Amari Cooper. Here, I got the list right here.
Oh, God.
I got the list right here. I don't know if the Steelers will actually sign another wide receiver. I would say it's ideal because you're not running with a 33-year-old Robert Woods, okay? That is just ridiculous. Guy didn't even have 300 yards with the Texans, who had injuries all season at wide receiver, okay? Guy's nothing but a depth signing, and that's what I thought Robert Woods was going to be. A depth signing that's going to compete for the 4th or 5th spot behind Pickens and Metcalf. That duo is now nothing but a fantasy.
Yes. Literally.
I thought Woods was going to be nothing but a backup, a reliable backup, veteran, presence in the locker room. Fine. No harm done, no loss here, $2 million, whatever. Now we're looking at him starting.
Well, listen, yeah, but look, Van Jefferson had less receiving yards than Robert Woods did in his season in 2023 with the Rams and the Falcons, and they still had him start. Granted, yes, they tried to get Ayuk, and they almost had it, and then Ayuk said, I'm going to sign with the Niners. Apparently, he's being brought up again. The Niners might want to trade him away finally.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
What the?
I'm good.
What? No.
Coming off an ACL tear with that big bag?
No.
I'm good. The free agent wide receivers right now. Keenan Allen, 33 years old.
If you're not down with
I'm not down with that.
we've got 2 words for you.
Alex.
Well, at 20. I've been a Steelers fan since 2006. I get it, but everybody needs to chill because the Patriots.
What about the Patriots?
What about them?
What about the Patriots? They might be better than us this year.
I think they will be. They got Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel,
They got targets.
They got targets.
They got Henderson at running back.
Yeah,
That's just filthy. Yeah, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Gabe Davis. It gets worse from here, guys. Nelson Aguilar, DJ Chark, Tyler Boyd, who the Steelers were looking to bring in last year.
Yeah, I'm not bringing him in now.
Brandon Powell, Jamison Crowder. I see Gunnar Olszewski's name on this freaking list.
No, hard pass. You know, and I can't even begin to fathom who the Steelers could trade for. There is still time for the Steelers to redeem themselves, to make something out of this, to find his replacement, to sign someone, to trade for somebody. The only thing that makes sense is if they use the pick or picks that they're going to have next year to trade for Pickens' eventual replacement, to trade for an eventual number 2 that'll be here with DK for the next couple years. Because it's obvious we're trading for a quarterback next year. We're trading up for a quarterback next year. It's obvious. But who the hell is he going to throw to? DK and Roman and maybe Calvin, who might be here, might not be. They could still trade for somebody. I can't begin to fathom who. The only one name that comes to mind is Garrett Wilson. But are the Jets going to do that?
Why would Aaron Glenn do that?
I don't know.
Why would he do that to Justin Fields?
Beats the hell out of me. Especially Justin Fields because he threw balls to him at Ohio State.
So why would he do it? It just wouldn't make sense. And then people brought up, oh, well, you know, Aaron Rodgers, he just set to sign any day, which feels like 84 years at this point.
Who should we trade for, chat? Because I can't.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up because people brought up, hey, how about Alan Lazard?
Yeah, no, hard pass. He can stay over there in New York.
Yeah, he said himself in a gift from the Wolf of, what was it, Wolf of Wall Street or whatever?
Who said Tyreek Hill?
He said, I'm not leaving.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, a man with
what's his contract?
multiple off-field issues.
Yeah,
who's looking to retire very shortly anyway. He said himself not too long ago on a podcast. Would Miami get rid of Tyreek? Yeah,
yeah, they would because he wants out. But why would he want to come to the Steelers? He's got to have a no trade clause. He has to. Why would he want to come to the Steelers when literally we have no one that's a starting quarterback, bro? It is fucking May 7th. We don't have a starting quarterback.
No, we don't.
What's the point of bringing in Aaron Rodgers?
You don't have Pickens no more. All he has is Metcalf. Who else is out there? Who the hell could the Steelers honestly go out there and trade to replace George Pickens?
That's why I don't understand the timing of trading Pickens. I had no problem with trading him away. It's the fact that they trade him now.
It doesn't make any sense. You're basically at the point of free agency where you're just signing scraps. You're digging your hand into the bottom of the cookie jar. You're picking up crumbs at this point, and it's just 2 weeks after the draft where you didn't select a wide receiver. Considering the fact that this was always in your back pocket, this was always in mind of trading away George Pickens. Why did you not have a thought in your mind to draft a wide receiver in this draft class?
Literally.
Though I love the draft class, I think it's got a lot of potential, a lot of upside. I feel like some of the talent that fell to our picks has great value. If this was always in mind, if this was always a possibility, why didn't you select a wide receiver?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Now, it doesn't make any sense to me.
They wanted a day 2 pick so they could eventually draft his replacement. That didn't succeed, which makes me wonder, Why trade him? Like, if you didn't have a replacement, why trade him? That's my biggest problem here.
See, if the Steelers wanted to trade away Pickens, why do it in the offseason after the draft?
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is, if it doesn't work out, you could have experimented the DK and George Pickens duo in Pittsburgh, despite whoever the quarterback is. It was going to be one of the most highly anticipated duos coming into the upcoming NFL season. One of the top things I was looking forward to for sure, and there's not a lot I'm looking forward to this upcoming season, that's now gone. You could have kept them together, and considering that the trade block pretty much ended at the beginning of November, you couldn't hold on a little bit longer and maybe explore calls, listen to offers on the trade block?
Well,
at the very least?
Well, in that case, you run the risk of him getting hurt or not getting as much as they would have gotten out of him now. You run that risk. Now, I know everyone's also going to say, well, why didn't they just have Pickens play the year? If they didn't, if Pickens wasn't going to stay, if the Steelers had plans on not re-signing Pickens, which clearly they didn't, for one reason or another, they had no plans on re-signing Pickens, on bringing him back. So people are going to say, well, if they didn't have plans, why didn't they just have him run out the end of his contract, have DK and Pickens for the year, and then he signs a big contract, and then you get a comp pick when he signs elsewhere. But the problem with that is you're not getting that third-round comp pick until 2027, and that can easily be canceled out if the Steelers make a splash, unlike something they did this past year. So they thought, let's just trade him now so we can secure that third-round pick, but a year in advance.
And what are they going to use that third-round pick for, Dan?
Well, either trading up, or they're going to have so many third-round picks that they can draft as many wide receivers to one fucking strikes. I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, considering the compensatory picks they're expected to get from the number of free agents that left this past offseason, you add upon the third that they just got from Pickens from the Cowboys, you're looking at maybe 12 picks the Steelers in Pittsburgh.
You're looking at a first-round pick, a second-round pick, 3 third-round picks, which is our own, the Pickens one, and the one we're getting from Dan Moore, signing that huge contract with Tennessee. 2 fourth-rounders, 2 fifths, a 6th and a 7th, or something along those lines. We're going to have a boatload of picks, probably the most picks of any team for next year. That's all going to, we all know what. But I'm sure some of that is still going to be remain for all the other holes surrounding the quarterback position, such as maybe corner, receiver, safety, right? Maybe another linebacker. Maybe a guard, because Sayamalo ain't going to be here after this year.
No, he's not.
But right now, we don't have a replacement for George Pickens.
Unless it's their ideal plan because of how many picks they're going to have for the upcoming draft in Pittsburgh. It's obvious that all signs point to them selecting a quarterback in the first round. Ideally, they trade up. I don't know how many comp picks they trade away in order to trade up. I think it's going to take more than comp picks. More so probably a future first and whatnot.
Yeah.
In order to actually trade up to get a top quarterback. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe they use all those picks after selecting the quarterback, they use those picks to really build around the quarterback. Maybe that's the vision. You use one of those picks for a wide receiver. Use one of those picks for a guard. Use one of those picks for maybe D-line, cornerback, safety even, right? Edge maybe. It's a possibility.
I have no clue.
Maybe that's Omar Khan's long-term plan.
Well, now, but I struggle now. What's the Steelers' plan for the future? Like, what are they trying to do? I know.
Because they're still trying to sign Aaron Rodgers. They're adamant about A-Rod wanting to come.
There's no point. Well, first of all, there was never any point, even if Pickens stayed. But now, officially, there's no point.
So it's like, you want to sign Aaron Rodgers because you're in win now. They're always in win now. Mike Tomlin's always in win now. They want to win a Super Bowl. They're nowhere close to winning a Super Bowl, even if Pickens was here, okay? They want to get A-Rod, but then they make this move. So it's like, do you want to win a Super Bowl? Are you vying for a Super Bowl? Or are you trying to do a slow rebuild? What is your mission?
I don't know what they're doing. I'm confused.
It's like they take 1 step forward, 2 steps back. As a matter of fact, 3 steps back.
Yeah, because they made a great trade for DK. Great trade.
It's not just for this upcoming season. It's for the future. He's here 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just for this year. It's for the future. You trade for Pickens. You sign him to a 4-year extension, new 5-year contract. You got him and Pickens for the year. Psych! Pickens is gone, and now we're in the same boat we were last year. just with a better number one. I don't know what the Steelers are trying to do. I know why they traded Pickens, and for that reason, I have no problem with it. They don't want his character in the locker room no more, which is why they traded Claypool, which is why they traded Johnson, which is now officially why they traded Pickens. They don't want his character. They don't want his poor body language on the field or in the locker room. They don't want that tainting the wide receiver room. They don't want to pay him $25 million a year. I get it. I have no problem with any of that, which is exactly why I always entertain the idea of trading Pickens. The problem goes back to why now? We don't have anyone. We have nobody. We are literally banking on a 33-year-old Robert Woods and a second-year jump or second-year career start for Roman Wilson, who I'm still excited for, but that's asking a lot for someone that only played 5 fucking snaps last year.
Yeah.
And can he
That's
play
a lot.
outside? I don't know. I was looking at him to be Calvin Austin's replacement because I don't think Calvin's going to be here after this year. I think he's getting $10 million. Are the Steelers going to pay that?
At this point, I don't know what the Steelers are going to do. I know they're not going to do much as far as the football team goes. And that's as long as Tomlin's here in general. We say that several times. But as far as what their future plan is for this upcoming season and for years down the line, I cannot even tell you exactly what they want to do.
I don't know what their mission is. I don't
know what's their goal. I don't know what's their mission. I don't know what's their plan. If they have a plan, I hope they have a plan.
It would have made sense if they drafted a receiver or if they traded him during the draft and then drafted a receiver. That would have made sense. I'm like, you know what? You traded Pickens. You got a third and a fifth out of it, but you drafted this guy. Let's see what he's capable of. We didn't draft nobody. We didn't draft a single receiver.
No
one. And we're left with literal scraps in the free agency pool.
Again.
Unless they make a blockbuster trade for another wide receiver. Who? I don't know. I can't begin to fathom who. Maybe Tyreek. Maybe Ayuk again. Maybe Garrett Wilson. Those are all possible wishful thinking scenarios.
I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's just very confusing to me right now.
But again, they still have time to sort this out. They do. We don't know who they're going to sign. We don't know who they're going to add to sort this out, to fix this. We don't know. So there's still time for them to just, let it play out, is what people like to say. We still have time to give them the chance to let it play out. But where we stand now, I don't understand it. I can't help but think this is a very, very confusing trade. From a roster aspect, from the fact that we're going into the season with no quarterback and now officially no wide receiver too. Again.
So what exactly do I have to look forward to on offense?
Caleb Johnson. I'm very excited for number 20 over there.
He's repping 20 hard. Better than Cam Sutton.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they're doing. I understand it completely. I just don't get how they don't have someone already there, confidently there to replace the guy.
It's like why make a move in an odd ass timing of the offseason, fresh off the draft? Why make a move like this and not have a plan?
No, hold on. Maybe they do, and we just don't know it yet. Maybe they do have a plan, which is why I say let it play out. But maybe that's me giving them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's me trying to just chill for a second. I can't begin to think what could be the fix. There's got to be a greater plan here, right? There's got to be. And if there's not, bro, listen.
No, because I like to go back to last offseason when they traded Deontay Johnson in the right time to do it in the middle of March, basically the start of free agency. And their plan was Ayuk. We all know that. It just didn't happen. So they had to deal with what they had to deal with.
Wow. I don't want to cut you off. Brandon in the chat, shout out to you, man, says, I'm a Ravens fan. As much as I hate the Steelers, this organization went from sugar to shit, and it's sad.
The Steelers suck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to disagree about
Continue.
Yeah, I mean, like, they tried to get Ayuk. That fell apart. They had to settle for who they had. And they finally fix it. Again, they finally fix it. They got their guy. No worries. Here we are.
Everyone in the chat saying 3-14 is the plan. 7-10, 6-10, 3-14. I don't think they're tanking. It might look like it, but the Steelers, I can't envision Mike Tomlin and the Steelers tanking. I don't think that's their mission here. I don't. It sure as hell looks like it because they're trying to get an old-ass Aaron Rodgers, which they currently have yet to sign. They have no quarterback. They have no wide receiver, too. So, yeah, it sure as hell looks like they're tanking, but I don't envision them doing that.
No, it's just hard. It's just hard for me to. Though they should.
At this point,
They
dude,
should
dude,
because they need it. Listen, they need it because doing the same stuff, the same record, the same outcome every single year, staying in the freaking middle, gets you nowhere. It's gotten the Steelers nowhere for pretty much a decade now. They need the tank. They need it. They need to humble themselves, and they need to be able to get an early pick in order to get a quarterback that can lead them for years down the line, for the future. They need it.
Dude, at this point,
But will they do it?
no.
It's hard for me to envision it. It's hard for me to see it. It's hard for me to see Mike Tomlin have a losing record.
Dude, at this point, man, again, I don't know what their mission is. I don't know what they're trying to do. At this point, you might as well just rebuild everything. Like, tear it all down and rebuild everything.
That's what we said after the Ravens loss.
Literally.
In the postseason.
And
Tear it all down.
Well, that thought has never left my mind.
Tear it all down. Start fresh. And what do the Steelers
And
do?
that includes potentially trading this guy. Who, by the way, the Steelers can now officially, they could have afforded him already, but now that they're saving $25 million a year plus for not having to re-sign Pickens, they can now pay this guy the $40 million extension. Is that a smart business move at a 30-year-old edge rusher that's on the field half the time?
We've got 2 words for
Isaiah with a 199. A 33-year-old Robert Woods is our wide receiver too. Shaking my head.
That's right, Isaiah. Yeah.
33-year-old Robert Woods. And potentially, I don't know who else. Yes, the Steelers can now pay TJ Watt. That's what I thought the news was going to be. Everyone's saying, oh, Steelers news incoming. Slick Rick on Twitter saying Steelers news incoming. I'm thinking, oh, Rodgers, Watt extension. No, George Pickens traded.
I didn't even see this coming. I didn't.
They can now pay Watt, but should they? Question is, does he deserve it? Yes, he does deserve it. But does he deserve to be losing every fucking year? Does he deserve to still not have a playoff win under his belt? No, he doesn't deserve that.
No.
He doesn't deserve that. Does paying $40 million to a 30-year-old edge rusher that's on the field three quarters out of the game make sense when you don't have a competent offense? No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense from a business aspect. It's not fair to Watt, that's for sure. But the Steelers aren't going to do it. They're not going to trade Watt. I'm not even going to entertain the idea, but it's one of those things where if they're trying to rebuild, which it might look like it, but I don't know anymore. If they're trying to rebuild, you might as well just scrap everything. Give the guy a legit chance to actually win because he's not doing it here. He's especially not doing it here. Give him a chance to win. Use that pick to get your next quarterback and rebuild everything with all the picks that you're going to have next year. Plus all the guys that you have under rookie contracts from the previous 3 draft classes. The locker room, the team, the symbol that Omar Khan is trying to build.
Whatever that might be.
I don't know. I can't see it yet. I don't know, guys. It's likely we're making win now. It's likely we're making win now moves and rebuilding moves like make up your mind. They're doing both. They're trading for DK and then they're trading away Pickens with no replacement in sight. Maybe it's Roman Wilson, but hell, you're gonna have to have a Victor Cruz second year rise for us to be happy.
Yeah.
And I don't see that happening. I'm excited for Roman Wilson in his Steeler career. I want to see what he's capable of if he can stay healthy. I think he's going to be a very solid receiver, but, oh, man, you're banking on a lot there.
Alec Ironmaner should have been the pick in the 4th round, not Sawyer.
And I love the Jack Sawyer pick because for the 4th edge piece, I think it makes a lot of sense. But seeing what they did now, yeah, I would have to agree with you. Why didn't you take him from Stanford? There was no interest from the Steelers, but still, I mean, come on. If you had the idea the vision to trade Pickens, wouldn't it be smart to have someone in line to take his spot?
Be ideal. Little insurance there.
But again, to give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe they still have that. Maybe they have that in mind. We just don't know it yet. But holy hell, is that giving them too much credit? Because I literally can't begin to think who's that going to be, when that's going to be, what that's going to be, what that's going to cost. I don't know, man. It's just we are literally back where we started a year ago.
Yep.
To this day, this time last year, we were in the same boat. We had Pickens, Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, and all the other guys. Now we have DK, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, Robert Woods. We just have a better number one and an older number two.
And now, the concern here is, knock on wood, severely. If Metcalf goes down,
Oh, God. Oh, no. No.
who's stepping up?
If you're not down with that,
Ben!
we've got 2 words.
Ben's stopping up. That's who, Robert.
My Floyd is pink 79 with a $2 super chat.
Boswell.
Maybe we trade for Tyreek Hill for a third.
I don't hate the idea. I just don't know why he would come here. And then you got to take up his contract. And then he also brings off-field issues. He's going to bring a lot of effort onto the field. He's got that blazing speed, as we all know. But why would he want to come here? He has no quarterback. He has no chance of winning. He's trying to win. He's going to retire soon. He said it himself. He ain't going to be here long.
At this point, he's better off going back to Kansas City, though they don't need him. He's better off going there.
Ryan, I know he did one out at the end of last season. But again, why would he want to come? I guarantee you he has a no trade clause. I'm going to search it up.
Go for it.
I guarantee you he has a no trade clause.
Joe Vlog says, I'm having serious thoughts about Khan.
He's been very up and down. I'm not going to lie to you. He's been very up and down. He put all his eggs in the basket for Ayuk last year. It didn't work. We suffered what we suffered last year. He finally got Metcalf. He doesn't know what he's doing at the quarterback position. He's going to get his guy. He's going to draft his guy next year, but everything in between, he has no idea what he's doing. He's trying to get guys from the retirement home.
It's like after excuse me. It's like after the 5-game collapse, the Steelers were just like, what do we do for the 2025 season? What's our mission?
I don't know.
And everyone's just like, I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
Tim, we do not want Aaron Rodgers. Never did.
Never wanted.
Never did.
But,
and especially
dude,
now.
this man, A-Rod, still trying to make up his damn mind. It's been 2 months, A-Rod. You either want to be here or you don't.
Sign Josh Gordon. He'll light it up. You might as well bring back Julio Jones out of retirement.
What about my guy Tyler Vaughns from the UFL?
Tyler Vaughn.
Yes.
Where's Deion Kane at? What's Martavis Bryant doing nowadays?
By the way, Metcalf can have his number back if he wants it.
I guess.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Kobe Hamilton. Oh, God. That's a name I forgot.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Kobe Hamilton.
Mm-mm.
What's Chase Claypool doing? He was out all last year. Bring him back.
Nah.
I'm kidding. Please
No,
don't.
I've done witnessed that.
I'm done with the Steelers this season. No quarterback, no wide receiver. We suck in our laughingstock in the NFL, says Jamal McCollum. Where's Antonio Holmes? Yeah, bring back Tone 10. Is that number available?
Lewis Lips. Electric Visuals, don't say that. I will not.
Dante Moncrief.
I will not.
Yo,
don't repeat that
Bring
man's
back
name.
Yancey Thigpen. Where's Ernie Mills at? What's he doing?
If you're not down with that, we've got 2 words.
Jason with a 499 says, been reported that Mike Tomlin made the decision to trade Pickens away, not Omar or Art. Clearly, he is hurting the team. Now we are back to square one. I got to see this report because I've heard that from you guys twice now.
Yeah, see if there's any credibility to that, because I've not seen that yet.
All right, I'm over here on Bleacher Report. Mike Tomlin reportedly led push to trade George Pickens before Cowboys Steelers deal. That's the head title.
Okay.
Again, this is according to Mark Caboli. I mean,
take it with a grain of salt. It's Mark Caboli.
Hollywood.
I'm not down with that. Hollywood Hill with a 2. He says Robert, 200 yards a year. Woods is the number 2 now.
All right. The article says, and I quote, "What's surprising to me is from everything that I've heard, Mike Tomlin was the one that was in front of all this," Caboli said. "It wasn't Art Rooney, the second. It wasn't Omar. It was Mike, and then the organizational decision of it's time to move on." That wasn't the only report suggesting Tomlin was involved, as Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said the head coach and Khan were behind the deal in a question and answer piece. There was no questioning Pickens' talent level during his time on the Steelers, but he didn't always live up to it for various reasons. It reached a point that Tomlin urged the receiver to grow up after a December game against the rival Cincinnati Bengals that saw the Georgia product pick up 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties just 1 game after scuffling with Browns cornerback Greg Newsome II. "He's just got to grow up, man," Tomlin told reporters. "This is an emotional game, man. These divisional games are big. He's got a target on his back because he's George. He understands that. But he's got to grow up. He's got to grow up in a hurry."
If you're not down with that, we've got 2 words for
I can't say Mike Tomlin's wrong.
No.
If you're not down with that, we've got 2 words.
I'll get to y'all in a second. I can't say Tomlin's wrong, but I still don't understand how they don't draft his replacement. Like, if he wanted him out, you might want to have somebody to fill the void.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense how you don't have a backup plan for the draft to select a wide receiver if this was always going to be, a possibility, if this was always in mind.
They brought in Matthew fucking Golden for a top 30 visit. Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knowles, Savion Williams. They all went early. They could have taken Matthew Golden at 20 instead of Derek Harmon.
They could.
I still love the Derek Harmon pick. That was always my preference. But Matthew Golden was there. So if they wanted to trade Pickens, they wanted to replace him, you got one of the best receivers in the entire class. Watch him have a great career in Green Bay.
Oh, he will. He will.
I'm not saying that selecting Harmon was a bad pick, because I don't think it was, and that was my preference. But in retrospect, now that you see that we traded Pickens,
because once the draft was over and Pickens was still here, I was under the Jesus Christ.
under the impression?
Yeah, under the impression, thank you, that Pickens is staying. He's staying for 1 more season at the very least. I don't know if we'll resign him, which obviously we weren't, but I was just thinking, hey, even if we don't resign him, he's here for a year. We get to see GP and DK together. Fine. I was always under the impression of that. Considering the fact they didn't draft a wide receiver. And the Robert Woods signing, I just thought it was nothing but depth. He's 33 years old.
Yeah, he's going to be a 4 or 5 guy. Now he's the 2.
Now he's the 2. And
what a difference one night of sleep makes. He woke up and he was a number 2. Last night he went to bed, he was a number 5. We are cheeky. Eric Horn. Yeah, hold on. Let me get to all 3 of y'all. We are cheeky with a 199 says, "I'm very mad with them." David McGibbon with a 10 says, "Pickens isn't a big deal, let's be honest. We could grab a homeless guy from under the 16th Street Bridge and still go 9-8. Same record if we had Jettas. Unfortunately, the Steelers are what they are." I don't think losing Pickens is the end-all, be-all. I don't, which is why I never had a problem with trading him. The problem is they didn't have a plan and set now. They still could, but as of where we stand, they don't have a plan and set now to fill that void. They don't.
No.
Pickens isn't the end-all, be-all. He's a tremendous talent, but he isn't everything. He's not the best receiver.
No, and again, it all rallies around the timing. That's what it is.
Yes.
That's why we're, very frustrated. It's the timing.
Yeah.
That's the head-scratching point. That's the confusing part of all of this is what gave them the sense that this was the right time? This was the time to do it?
Because the Cowboys upped their offer and something the Steelers just couldn't, say no to.
They felt like they couldn't say no.
They knew they weren't going to keep him. They knew they weren't going to resign him. They knew. They knew they were tired of his antics. And they knew that they could secure a 3rd-round pick if he left or not, but they wanted to jumpstart it a year. That's why they did it. That's why they did it now.
Yeah, but with no replacement in set.
Exactly. Eric Horn with a 5 says Hill just had wrist surgery and had 2 screws removed. I didn't even know that.
Neither did I.
Tomlin's not wrong about George Pickens' immaturity. No, he's not. Tomlin is not wrong about that. I have always been the one to believe. I've always been in the belief that Pickens was never going to grow up. Never. If he hasn't now, after 3 years, he never will.
Under Mike Tomlin, no. And
He's
not. He will not under Schottenheimer with Dallas.
He's too immature. He's way too immature. So Mike Tomlin's not wrong in that, and that's one of the biggest reasons, probably the biggest reason why they got rid of him. They just want volunteers, not hostages, right? Pickens wasn't that much of a volunteer. He wasn't, which is why Tomlin got rid of him. Again, something I don't disagree with. Maybe they have somebody in mind.
Yeah, Gabe Davis, right?
He's 26. He's 6'2", 225. He has experience. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest. It's not pleasant. I'll tell you that right now. He didn't do anything with the Jags last year, and that's the Jags that had Christian Kirk, who the Steelers almost traded for last year, was hurt for the second half of the season, and with Brian Thomas having a 1,000-yard breakout rookie season.
Yeah.
So is Gabe Davis really like,
And
oh my God.
The writing was on the wall when Jags traded up for Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
It was the writing on the wall. Gabe Davis was not going to stick around, so the Jags, they didn't even wait.
No.
2 weeks after, they said, Gabe, you're done. Bad investment. Just didn't pan out. You're done. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, I hear Brandon Ayuk's name's getting tossed around again.
Yes.
Brian says, bro, he's 24 and was severely underutilizing your scheme. Any player worth a damn would be emotional. Again, I know he was underutilized. But I guess it was too much for the Steelers.
Here's the way I see it. I don't blame Pickens for being frustrated because the Steelers' coaching is terrible.
But
Matt Canada as his OC was bad. Randy Fichtner didn't really, or not Randy Fichtner.
Arthur Smith.
Yes, Jesus Christ, holy crap. Yeah, Arthur Smith, he didn't pan out. He didn't do good anyway. The quarterbacks he had to deal with, yeah, I understand. I mean, any receiver will be frustrated.
But there's a time where you, as the number one receiver, you gotta be professional.
And that's what the Steelers tried to do for Pickens. They signed Russ, traded for Fields, gave him 2 competent quarterbacks. They gave him a new receiver coach, Zach Asani, who is known for discipline, holding you accountable, and that's what he did. They tried with Pickens. They tried. And Pickens last year, it wasn't the worst season, but it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't exactly there consistently when we needed him the most, especially in that Bengals game. If you recall, that Bengals game, he had 2-3 drops, maybe 4. The last game before the Ravens playoff game, yeah, he was not good. He came into that game 900 receiving yards on the season. He ended the season with 900 receiving yards.
Yeah.
I would say that Pickens had the right to be frustrated. Having terrible coaching like that would drive any player insane.
Yeah, not getting the ball enough and definitely being underutilized. Because I remember,
but the Steelers trying to clean up their act, trying to clean up their mess. They tried, and they tried with Pickens, giving him what Pickens needed, and Pickens still not doing what the Steelers expected him.
Yeah.
Not stepping up, not growing up, not maturing, not being a better character, not being a true number one, like the Steelers had envisioned.
Well, clearly not, because they traded for DK and then traded Pickens away. So clearly they didn't see enough in Pickens. And there's a lot of aspects that go into this trade. Tomlin complained about Pickens' character issues, but give Cam Sutton all the snaps on defense. Yeah, and bench Beanie Bishop, who had 3 picks, 4 picks before he came back?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Arthur Smith felt more like Canada, bro. I don't feel like he got the targets. Who, Pickens? No, he didn't get the targets. Again, I'm not disagreeing that he was underutilized. I've been saying this. There's still a time where you got to be professional, though. I didn't see so many other receivers crying and bitching. Frymuth and Calvin Austin defend Pickens? I'm sure they did. Calvin came in with the same draft class. Frymuth is not going to say anything bad about nobody.
No, he's not.
Frymuth's a good dude. Again, it's not a problem with the fact that they trade him. It's that they trade him and they didn't have no one. They still don't, and I don't know who that's going to be. Pickens being traded by Tomlin, by Omar, whoever the hell forced their hand or whatever, right? A lot went into the reason why he's not a Steeler today, why he wasn't a Steeler past 7 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
Clearly, they weren't going to pay him. They weren't going to keep him. They got an upped offer from the Cowboys that they couldn't refuse, so they took it. Tomlin, whoever, got too tired of his antics, too tired of his problems on and off the field, him showing up to meetings, like I said, body language and, the immaturity issues. And I don't think that was ever going to change with Pickens. That's the problem here. I don't think that was ever going to change. And in Dallas, I don't know if that will change.
No, that won't. I'll tell you right now that like Schottenheimer is going to change Pickens. That's just a disaster waiting to happen in Dallas.
I don't think it's going to change. I don't think Pickens is going to change that much.
We've got 2 words for you.
Will he be utilized better? Will he have a better quarterback? Yes, he will. But I don't think from the maturity level, I don't think he's going to mature. I don't think he's ever going to reach that. I don't think he's ever going to reach that level.
No, and again,
it was too much for the Steelers to keep.
And again, the Steelers tried. They surround him with what Pickens needed. Was it the best? Not exactly, but it was a step in the right direction, at least in the Steelers' eyes. It was a step in the right direction for Pickens to grow, for him to prove that you should be here and that you can stay here.
Right.
Because you want to be here. Pickens never really did.
Clem's Tattoos with a 2 says the whole team gave up. It was a horrible season. They clearly gave up. They lost, 5, 6 in a row?
5 straight. 5 straight, yeah. It was bad.
Worried about how he act, man. Y'all are here to win a Super Bowl. I guess the Steelers. Well, clearly the Steelers. I don't know if they are anymore.
They're not. They're not winning a Super Bowl.
Isaiah.
We've got 2 words for you.
Is Larry Fitzgerald available? I don't know. Maybe he visits Pittsburgh right next door every year. I have no clue.
Dude, I don't know, man. That number 11 seems cursed. I don't even think Larry Legend can put some grace on that number.
I don't think he'd ever want to resign. I don't even think he'd ever want to come to the Steelers just based on the fact that we took the only chance he ever had at a ring. Yep. Sorry, had to do it.
Yeah, we did do that. Yeah.
But Pickens, man, I would have loved to keep him. I would have loved to keep him. I would have been cool if he stayed. I would have been cool if he was traded. I would have loved to keep him. I think him and DK, the fact that we didn't even get that when we had it on the roster for 2 months and we never saw it in any NFL Sunday action, it's a little disappointing in my opinion. I really wanted to see that, no matter who the quarterback was going to be. I wanted to see that.
It was probably the main thing I was most looking forward to, and there's not a lot I'm looking forward to heading into the season.
No,
I'm not.
Especially not anymore.
No.
I did want to see that.
I did too. A lot of us did.
I did want to keep Pickens. I would have been very cool if he stayed, if the Steelers gave him an extension. And clearly they could have afforded it because they ain't paying nobody else on offense. Not anytime soon.
No, they're not.
Not anytime soon. Half of the players are on rookie contracts. That entire line outside of Sayamalu is on rookie contracts. So they could have paid him if they really wanted to keep him. Clearly they didn't.
Nope.
It sucks. I understand why they did it. In a way, I don't disagree, but it sucks. It sucks. I can't sit here and say that it was a good trade by the Steelers. It's not. It's not a good trade.
The timing is not good.
No, it's not.
I would say that the capital they got, it's not the worst. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. It's what they could get out of George Pickens the most. The timing is what I'm not a fan of. I'm not.
No.
I don't like the timing. I don't like how they don't have a plan. They might. I don't know.
Check Twitter. All right, let me check Twitter. What's happening?
We'll just have to let this play out, I suppose. We'll see. As I'm sitting here right now in front of you guys, I just don't think that they have a plan. I don't have the sense that they have a plan.
Candy Cart Mexican, which one am I going for? Out of these names? Cooper. Amari Cooper. Give me Amari Cooper.
That might be it. If he wants to be here.
Give me Amari Cooper.
Is he going to want to be here with no quarterback?
He's a free agent. Where else is he going to go? he wants to get paid, if he wants to play, he'll be here. TJ Black Gaming got a article he shared me. Steelers' trade of George Pickens hints that AFC foe could have absolutely ruined Pittsburgh's third-round draft plans. So you tell me they weren't going to draft Caleb Johnson if they had a certain receiver in mind? Jalen Noel. I mean, they did bring him in for a top 30 visit, but clearly the Texans took him.
Yeah. I would like Jalen Noel, but
the only problem with Jalen Noel is can he play outside? Can he be an outside receiver? Does he replace the level of impact that Pickens brings onto the field when utilized properly? I like Jalen Noel a lot. I do. I see a lot of Roman Wilson in him. A lot of Roman Wilson. Maybe a more dynamic Roman Wilson. At least coming out of college. But clearly, he wasn't there, so the Steelers went their best guy available there, which was Caleb Johnson, which I think is still a great pick. And honestly, that's the only thing I can look forward to this year on the offense is Caleb Johnson and DK. But I don't even know about DK because, bro, he's got no one else to help him. He's got no receiver or no quarterbacks on the football.
Nope.
Wow, man, like this offense is so discrepted. Like it is. I don't think I've ever seen this offense in such worse state. They literally have no quarterback. We have the same wide receiver room as last year, just two different ones and twos. Like, wow.
It's like they finally fixed wide receiver from what they did last year just to put themselves in the same predicament.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But they're changing a lot with the offense again. So like last offseason, they had Pickens, Mitch, Mason the year prior, right? Mason saved the year, led us to the playoffs. We lost to the Bills.
Yeah.
None of them stayed. And they replaced him with Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Kyle Allen. None of them stayed.
Nope.
Najee Harris, gone. Pickens, gone.
Your leading
Russ,
passer, rusher,
gone.
and receiver are now gone from last year.
And now, this offense, bro, I don't know. This might be the worst state that I've ever seen the offense from a roster aspect.
I feel like they could have kept him at least until the trade deadline.
If they really wanted to trade, I don't know.
I feel like they could have done so. Because Khan is adamant we need playmakers.
Joe, I agree. I would much rather have Mason than Rodgers. I agree. There's no point in bringing Rudolph. There never was a point.
There's no point in bringing in Rodgers. There's not.
And
again, it doesn't seem like he really wants to be here. If his heart is not all in for the Steelers, I don't want you here. Rudolph's heart's all in. Howard's heart's all in. I'd rather run with those two guys to which at this point they're nothing but backups, but at least they want to be here. At least they want to vibe with this team. At least they want to be around the teammates. At least they want to try to help this team succeed. Unlike A-Rod, who doesn't seem to know what the hell he wants to do at 41 years old.
Yeah, his mind is not fully into.
Maybe he needs another darkness retreat.
Aaron Derrick says having DK and Pickens made me feel better about Mason possibly being number one, but I watched him play in Tennessee last year and I don't feel confident. I get it. I can also say that Tennessee's a disaster, but that's the pot calling the kettle black, isn't it?
Yeah, we're no different.
He just has a better number one receiver. That's it. Ronald, I don't get the love of Rodgers either. I don't.
A-Rod will do nothing. He will add nothing. He's not going to change anything.
He never was. Even, like, okay, let's say Pickens was never traded. And then Rodgers signs a contract. He's the quarterback for the year. What was that going to do? Nothing. It was Steelers' false hope to make a push.
That's what I've said all offseason. It's nothing but false hope.
But now there is literally no point.
So at this point, you're better off running with Rudolph. You're better off giving the chance to Howard. At this point.
It doesn't look like it does. I'm sorry. It does look like they're doing it, but they're never going to. But honestly, at this point.
So it's like, what do you want to do? What's your goal? Which path do you want to go? You got to swerve to the left or right lane, Con.
Like what
Coach!
What is their mindset for this upcoming year? Okay.
I don't fucking know.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?
Because I'm having quite an eventful day, Dan.
I'm sure you are. Me too. Me too. We're all having a great day, huh? There's a poll in the chat for you guys. I see that 33% of you guys are feeling awful about the Pickens trade. 19% are feeling great. 22% are feeling good. And 26% are questioning why. We know why.
We better hope Roman Wilson steps up.
We know exactly why he's gone. But I got another why. Why do we not have a replacement? Why did we not draft a receiver? We gonna trade? We gonna trade? We gonna sign some old ass vet again? We already did. His name is Robert Woods.
Yeah.
And the year before that, it was Van Jefferson. And the year before that, we traded for Allen Robinson.
And here I was thinking, and we made a short on it about Robert Woods signing. Here I'm thinking, oh no,
What are we
Robert
doing?
Woods is a completely different situation. He will not be leaned on as
Bro,
the starter.
you made a short. You made a short, and you said it's the Steelers' yearly tradition where they sign veteran receivers like they did with Allen Robinson. They trade for Allen Robinson and Van Jefferson. Now Robert Woods. But the difference is he's going to be the 4 or 5. Are you sure about that?
Excuse the ever living crap out of me for not thinking that Pickens be traded.
I thought there was a possibility he would have
You're
been
not down with that.
Abel.
We've got 2 words for you.
Abel with the 49 says 30 minutes till off the clock. What is this team's plan? Why didn't they just get rid of him before or during the draft? Here we go, Steelers. I asked the same thing.
Here's the way I see it, because
Vote to get Jeremiah Smith 2027. Yes, please. Yes, please.
the guy could be a number 1 now.
Yes, please.
He's that good.
You sure he's not going to declare next year? He could. He very well could.
It's up to him.
He very well could. He is NFL ready.
I won't be surprised.
My God. He might go down as the greatest wide receiver in Buckeye history. And there's been a ton.
Yeah.
A ton. I'll be here all night talking about the list. Roman Wilson has no choice. He has to step up. He has no choice. Yeah. Like, I felt like if Pickens was here, they could have, eased him in. Now, they still kind of will because they'll think Robert Woods is good enough when he's not. Not anymore. So maybe they could still ease him. Maybe. I don't know, man. I'd give him all the first team reps as I can in training camp.
See if you can really run with it.
And
No
don't
pun
run
intended.
a goddamn jet sweep like you did last year because that cost him an entire rookie season.
Yeah, a year of playing experience took out his entire rookies. He
Which could've
basically had to
which-
redshirt it.
Which could have made this trade a lot more confident. I might have a different tone
But-
if all you didn't do was run a jet sweep in training camp with Roman Wilson, because that's the problem here. That's what got him hurt last year.
Listen, I look forward to Roman Wilson, seeing how he steps up, how he is recovered from his injury, seeing how he is, how more smooth he is as a route runner, how consistent his hands could be, his blazing fast speed. He's a very physical guy for his size. I'm excited about him. I look forward to him. But I'm not going to have high expectations on Roman Wilson to lead the way. You know what I mean? I would love nothing more than that. I would love nothing more than for us to be on here in October and Roman Wilson having a 100-yard game left and right and being like, listen, Steelers knew what they were doing. They took a chance and it paid out. And I hope to God that happens.
But the truth is, they don't know what they have in him because he barely played.
The Steelers are relying on a man that's coming off an injury.
He's essentially going to be a rookie. It's Calvin Austin all over again. That's what it is. It's Calvin Austin all over again. And Calvin Austin has stepped up really well. He's one of my favorite receivers on the team. I mean, he has to be because we really have no one else. But you get what I'm saying.
How's he going to do in a contract year?
I don't know. He's going to be the primary slot guy. I love Calvin Austin. I think he's great. I think he, too, is underutilized. I think everyone in this entire offense is underutilized. Our coaching has no idea what they're doing, especially on the offensive side. We've been new this. Todd Haley, bro, I'm sorry. Come back. I miss you, bro. You knew what you were doing. Kind of. That 4th and 1 call versus the Jags was kind of stupid, but still. We're banking on Roman Wilson.
Yeah, we are.
I'm very excited. I still have a lot of hype for him. I'm not having a lot of expectation, but I still got a lot of hype for him because I think people forget how good he was coming out of Michigan. I think people forget how underrated he was in last year's draft class.
I can only hope that he still has that in him. And if he acknowledges it and if he understands that he's now going to be leaned on heavily about that, then I hope he actually runs with it. He steps up.
Me too.
He's coming from a hell of a school, Michigan, from a hell of a coach in Jim Harbaugh, a championship mentality. There's one man that can do it. It can be Roman Wilson. It's just up to him to really take it to that next level.
Electric Visual says trading up for Carson Beck or Jewel R. Neither.
Not at the moment.
No, I mean, we'll see what they do.
I wouldn't
this
say
year,
right now.
I'm not a fan of Carson Beck, and Jewel R has some potential, but he's really gonna have to show out his last year.
I like Alar more than Beck. I'm not a huge Carson Beck guy.
I'm not a big fan of either.
But I think Alar does have some potential. He's got the glimpses there. He's got to work on the consistency.
I'd much rather trade it for Lenore Sellers. I think he's got a lot.
Yes, he does.
A lot of good tendencies.
Sellers is good.
Yes, Jake. The chat has been telling me that, we did hear Mike Tomlin is the reason we traded Pickens. At least according to Mark Caboli. Very interesting, man. And I don't think that that's going to change his status. Like, say trading Pickens has awful effects on the season. I don't think that's going to change Mike Tomlin's status of his job.
No, Art Rooney ain't going to do a damn thing about it.
Art the Clown has no soul, has no spine in him to do anything.
He will not tell Tomlin what to do. Because he has too much trust, he has too much faith, confidence, a liking to Mike Tomlin, just based off his resume. Art Rooney has given Mike Tomlin all the power in the world.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin has the most safest job in the National Football League.
Right.
It's more safe than Andy Reid. It's more safe than Dan Campbell. It's more safe than Kyle Shanahan. It's more safe than Sean McVay. More safe than Nick Sirianni. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, he has the most safe job in the entire NFL. Literally. He's not going nowhere. We know this. So, yeah, this could jeopardize his contract. This could jeopardize his job. It won't. It's not. It's not going to. As for those saying like Archie Manning or Arch Manning,
If you're not down with that, we've got 2 words for
there's a problem. Manning could declare next year, but he's also going to have only 1 year of starting experience. Is he going to declare after his sophomore year? I doubt it.
I don't know.
I doubt. I'm not expecting.
Unless
if he
he's
declares,
really, really confident in his play style.
he's going to have to really show out this year enough to declare.
break records and whatnot. Isaiah with a 199. Carson Beck couldn't even beat Jalen Milroe.
No, Carson Beck.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Not a fan. And Gary Newsmeyer from LSU. Yeah, I like him a lot too.
Yep, of course.
I really like the way he reads defenses and throws the football. A lot of good about him there. We'll see what he does this upcoming year. I mean, clearly there hasn't been a lot of good LSU quarterbacks, obviously ever since Joe Burrow, but he's really starting to get his name up there. So that's also a reason why they trade Pickens is they want as many picks for next year, but that's obviously for next year. What about this year? I didn't expect much this year, even if we kept Pickens, but I think it says a lot if you trade Pickens and don't have no one in mind. Maybe they have someone in mind, but we don't know that yet. But as of now, they have no one in mind. So what does that say about their status for this year? What does that say about their goal, their mission, their idea for the 2025 season?
Is it still playoffs?
They'd be lucky. DJ Moore.
What about DJ Moore?
Why would the Bears trade him? They just got Caleb Williams. They're not trading their number one.
Why? Because they drafted Luther Burden.
Luther Burden can be the slot guy.
What was it, the second round? Yeah, you got Moore and Adunse outside. Burden in the slot. Why would Ben Johnson get rid of his number one?
Why would he do that?
That doesn't make any sense.
I like the idea of DJ Moore, but that's just not a realistic possibility. Red-Eyed Rick says they wanted him gone and he wanted to be somewhere else. This is a building year. Next year will be a lot better with a new quarterback and a good wide receiver draft pick. I mean, that's what they're banking on. That's what I'm hoping for as well. Yes, this is a building year. It was always going to be. It was always going to be a bridge. But I don't know. I figured they were trying to build everything for the wide receiver for next year instead of have only DK be in the same situation at the wide receiver room they were in last year, be in the same wide receiver position that they are in for the last 2 years, now 2 years, and then set the quarterback up with great targets. That's what I thought they were going to do. They're still going to get their guy. They're probably going to draft a receiver next year, and I think it's a much better receiver class. But I don't know, man. I just figured that they were going to get their guy and then have the targets already set in place. Because they got DK for 4 or 5 years. They got Caleb Johnson on a rookie contract. Maybe Warren gets extended. They got Muth under contract. Could have been Pickens. Obviously will not be Pickens. I don't know. I just figured that they'd have someone already in set for that guy.
Yeah.
It's all about setting him up for the best success. Very much like what the Bears did with Caleb Williams. They got DJ Moore. They signed Keenan Allen. They drafted Roma Dunze. Maybe the Steelers are going to do something similar. I figured that they would have already had the targets in set for him. That way, offensive set, rookie contract, rookie quarterback. Let's go. Let's see what you got. Let's make this push. Let's see if you're the new franchise. And that's still going to be their goal. It has to be now because clearly they have no one there at either position.
Right.
So they kill two birds with one stone.
So again, is it at a point where the Steelers have acknowledged, listen, we need a small rebuild?
If that's the case, you know what?
Because I said it earlier, that's what they need. They need to acknowledge they need a rebuild. You can't be doing the same stuff every year and expecting anything better, expecting anything different.
Yeah, I've always said all offseason, they need to humble themselves at where the team is and where they're at.
So maybe this is it.
Perhaps.
Maybe. But then again, if they still go out there and sign Aaron Rodgers, it's like, why'd you make this move?
Exactly. Yeah, because if they sign Aaron Rodgers, that takes away everything about the whole rebuild idea. Because as much as signing Aaron Rodgers isn't going to do anything, the Steelers' idea is, hey, we signed Aaron Rodgers. We're not rebuilding this year. That's their idea. Aaron Rodgers ain't going to do nothing for him, but in the Steelers' mind, signing Aaron Rodgers is making a push. It's not. They're delusional if they do. But literally, signing Aaron Rodgers accomplishes nothing. So if they are literally in the mindset of rebuilding, fucking rebuild.
At that point, just tell A-Rod, listen, man, offers off the table. We're not interested anymore. We're going to run with what we have. Straight up.
That's why I was so cool with this year's draft class, because I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to strengthen the defense. They're trying to strengthen the run defense. They're trying to strengthen the defensive line. They're trying to strengthen a lot of the depth areas on the defense. And they brought in DK via the draft, or via the second round pick
trade.
Caleb Johnson, and a 3-2, maybe 1 this year quarterback in Will Howard.
Yeah.
That's why I was so cool with this year's draft class, because it is a situation where, yeah, they have to rebuild. They have to understand that they aren't there yet. They got to clean up a lot of areas. And it's all not finished, clearly. They weren't going to do it all via the draft. We don't know what Pickens' future held, and clearly now we do. So it was a situation where, yeah, they had to rebuild, and that's why what they did in the draft I was fine with, because they're really trying to have a lot of these guys, a lot of core areas under rookie contract to set up the guy that they're going to draft next year. That's what it's all about. That's maybe their vision. I just get confused at, I figured you did everything you could at getting a wide receiver to pair with Pickens. You tried Ayuk, didn't work. You got DK, you finally did it. Our wide receiver troubles are fixed, except they're not.
Yeah, now George Pickens gets to go to Dallas and actually be paired with a legitimate number 1 wide receiver.
Yes.
Pickens gets his wish, but not in Pittsburgh.
No.
And they still are looking to sign A-Rod? Because
Apparently,
according to Fowler, Steelers remain in contact with Aaron Rodgers and are hopeful that he'll be a Steeler. But as of now, no hard update.
So what
what do you want to do? Do you want to do a small rebuild? Do you want to have a little bit of a down year so you have an early draft pick in order to select a quarterback? Or are you going to sign Aaron Rodgers and make a push, but you just trade away one of your top receivers? in the worst timing possible.
I don't know. I don't know, dude.
This is why it's confusing.
This is okay. Let me break it down for you in case you guys are getting confused. And if you are, I apologize. If they're going to rebuild, trading Pickens is whatever. They want to revamp the offense. They want to revamp the locker room. They want to revamp the energy and volunteers, not hostages. What like Tomlin likes to say a lot, right? He's been saying it for years. That's cool and dandy. That's fine. I get what they're trying to do, and frankly, it's necessary for the Steelers. It really is. It really is. But if you trade Pickens and your idea is still to get Aaron Rodgers, you're not really in a rebuild, are you? Unless you think Aaron Rodgers is so fucking washed that he's going to give you the worst record you can imagine.
So why pay the man? Why go through all this trial and error for what?
Alan Lazard, guys. I see a lot of you guys saying Alan Lazard in the chat. He's not coming here because he posted a GIF on Twitter where it's Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street saying, "I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving." The show goes on.
Listen, Alan, I didn't want you here anyway.
Yeah, he can stay.
No disrespect, I just didn't. I don't want you here.
But if they trade for Alan Lazard, guess what?
Yeah, A-Rod's coming.
Hey, A-Ron, come on down.
Or
Come
even-
to the front of the class.
Is Randall Cobb still playing?
Randall Cobb, he retired.
He's got. Did he?
Randall Cobb retired.
Oh, thank God. I was about to say he's got them ties with
Randall
A-Rod.
Cobb retired.
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
This move sets up another move, and the catapult gives them a chance to make a move or move up the draft board for the draft here next year. It's got to be, obviously. They're going to have 3 third-round picks next year. Maybe 4 if Justin Fields and or Russell Wilson play out the extent of their contract. Keep that in mind, folks. If Justin Fields has a career year with New York, we get another third-round pick. If Russell Wilson plays out his contract with New York, the Giants, we get another third-round pick. I'm not expecting it, but I'm just throwing it out there. They're going to have 3 third-round picks next year. Now, those 3 third-round picks and all the other day 3 picks, that's not going to be enough to trade up for whatever. They could trade up in little bitty bits, similar to what the Bills did to get Josh Allen, but it's going to cost more than just all that for trading a massive move into the top.
It's going to take more.
5,
It's going to
top
take
3, whatever.
It's going to take more than comp picks and day 3 compensatory picks.
Yeah. So those picks are going to be used to build everything else, specifically around the offense. Has to be. Because mostly everything on defense is under contract outside of maybe the safeties.
Pretty much.
Elliott might not be back. Thornhill might not be back. We don't know what Minka's future holds. Minka might be gone now. Minka might, I don't know. His contract the next 2 years is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. For his play production, yeah, it's pretty rough.
So I'd figure a lot of those picks are going to go towards the offensive side. A new guard, new receiver, maybe more receivers. I wouldn't hate the idea of double dipping receiver next year. With
No.
how many picks they're gonna have.
you got to stack the receiving room now. I say that. I would say.
But I agree. It's oh, Tony Daniel.
We've got 2 words for you.
With a 5 says, why didn't we draft Matthew Golden? This is the definition of insanity. I brought that up earlier. He was sitting there nice and purdy at 20. But yes,
The move would have made more sense.
this has to set up another move. Because if it's not, and they trade Pickens and they're like, you know what, Robert Woods, we like you to be the number 2. That's just bad.
That's just absurd.
That's just bad. This has to set up another move. That's my benefit of the doubt. That's my let's play it out. Let's see what happens.
Well, you know what, Dan? You know what, Dan? Just like I told you about the entire Ayuk situation, because I felt this way. Don't get your hopes up.
I'm not.
Do not get your hopes up.
I'm not because, first of all, there's nothing being reported right now, and I couldn't begin to think who.
I couldn't tell you.
So I'm not getting my hopes up, but there's got to be a greater plan here.
I would like to think so. I like to think in that bald head of his, that brain of his, Omar Khan, he's got to have something in mind. Maybe not for this upcoming season, but for further down the line, because I can understand. I can see what he's trying to do. He's building the trenches.
Yeah.
That's his pattern. He's building the trenches. He's getting some extra comp picks by letting some free agents walk, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to stack the team with talent. I get it.
Down with that, we've got 2 words for
Tony
you.
Daniel with a 2 says, I do like the idea of Jaden Reed. I love Jaden Reed. I think he's great.
Yep.
But again, would the Packers do that? They just drafted Golden. Jaden Reed is one of Love's favorite targets. I mean, do they still have Wicks? They still got Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson, who's always hurt. He's like the injured Claypool. Unbelievable size and athleticism, but can't stay healthy.
He's not as clumsy as
Just
Claypool.
like Claypool couldn't catch or focus on the fact that the clock's running down, Watson can't stay on the field. So, do they trade a receiver? They just drafted one. Why would they take one away?
You just mentioned the names. I mean, they got a stacked receiving room just by name value.
Oh, by numbers, yeah.
They could
Goldie.
do that.
Goldie, we mentioned Roman Wilson several times in this stream. Vaughn B says, this is simple. George Pickens was a poison in the locker room. Can we really want to relive the AB disaster? No. It's not the fact that they traded him. That's not what I'm upset about. I'm cool with trading him. Was always open to the idea. It just resorts back to they traded him and didn't have a replacement. But maybe they do. Maybe they do. We just don't have it yet.
Nope. Yeah, I'm looking at Green Bay's receiving class right now, right here. Romeo Dobbs, Matthew Golden, McCole Hardman, but whatever. Bo Melton, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Wicks, because I'm not going to try to pronounce
Tavian?
Dontavian Wilson. Wicks, my bad. And Savion Williams.
I forgot they got Savion Williams.
In the third, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So could Khan be calling up the Packers about trading for a receiver? In that case, who?
Weren't the Packers one of the teams that were calling about Pickens?
I think they were, yeah. I think that was speculated.
Well, maybe they don't get Reed. Maybe they get Wicks. Is he really the number 2 though? He's young as hell.
I think Dobbs is more of a prone 2 than Wicks is. Dobbs wouldn't be a bad option. He did have that one case of having to be suspended for a game.
If he's very cheap, I wouldn't mind Wicks. If he's very cheap, maybe give him the opportunity and see if he can take it. Otherwise, if he's not and he's just a great depth piece, a great outside guy, he was cheap. I wouldn't hate that. If they want to revisit the trade talks that they had with the Packers during the draft, because you know they did. Otherwise, if you're going to go in free agency, I agree. Alaskan dude says Amari Cooper.
He might be the best available.
So other teams wanted him, but we couldn't manage him. Shaking my head shows how weak we are as a franchise. I guess Tomlin just got real tired of the prima donnas at the wide receiver room. He dealt with so many. The Steelers also drafted way too many of those. Holy hell. They did.
That was Kevin Colbert, dude.
Just one of those things.
That was Kevin Colbert. God, Kevin Colbert, man.
Yeah.
I look back at those draft classes, the number of years before Khan took. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that 2022 class. Bro, we will go down. 2022 Steelers draft class.
Here, I think I got it somewhere.
Bro.
Yep, here it is. I got you. First round, Kenny Pickett. Ooh, he's now a Brown. Hilarious. George Pickens, second round.
He gone.
Third round, DeMarvin Leal.
Oh, my God.
He's basically got 1 foot right out the door.
Yeah.
Fourth round, Calvin Austin III. Contract year. Maybe he steps up. I don't know.
I don't think Calvin's going to be here after this year, though. So
Sixth round, Connor Hayward. We know why he was drafted. Seventh round, Mark Robinson. Pretty much out the door. Chris Oladukin. Is he still a Chief?
that was an awful draft class. That was awful.
That was Kevin Colbert's final draft class, dude.
That was
He's still a Chief.
3 years ago. 3 years ago. And there's only what? Three guys that remain on the roster from that class? Leal, Calvin. 4. Leal, Calvin, Connor, and Mark. Only 4 guys remain. And all of them are
Backup.
day 3 picks. Leal was a day 2, but sure as hell ain't playing like a day 2 pick.
No, his durability has not lived up. Chris Oladukin's got 2 Super Bowl rings.
Sure does.
You know what his statistics are in the NFL? 5 rushing yards. That's it.
Oh man, yeah, three are special teams guys. Yeah, it's just oof.
Hell of a job, Colbert.
I'm gonna get a new poll in the chat. Because first of all, this one has been up for I don't know how long.
Somber, what's good, brother?
Hey, what's up, Somber? Good seeing you in the chat as always.
How you feeling, dude?
Listen, gang, Caleb Johnson may end up being the next Lev Bell. This may help soften the GP trade. I'm very excited for Caleb Johnson. Very.
I look forward to Johnson. Absolutely.
I still can't believe he fell to 83. Love Caleb Johnson.
I don't know how the hell he did, but he did. Johnson thought he was a dog at Iowa. Feel like he's going to be a dog in Pittsburgh. And there's no doubt that the Steelers are now going to have to run the football even more so. That's always going to be the case with Arthur Smith being the OC.
Right.
But Johnson paired with Warren, I think that's something that could really excite me. Matter of fact, the rookie jersey numbers, if you want to get into that
go ahead and read them, yeah.
The rookie jersey numbers, Will Howard is number 18, as expected. He's going to rock that number. Caleb Johnson is 20. Jack Sawyer is wearing his college number, 33. Dante Kent, he's wearing 34. 34 is back on the secondary.
Yep.
Carson Bruner is wearing 44, so he's got Tyler Matakavich's old number. Y.A. Black is 78, and is probably my favorite one of all. Derek Harmon, a first rounder, he is 99.
That's sick.
That's fire, actually.
I know people look at Sawyer and see 33 and that on an edge rusher. That's his college number, man. I like that.
I see no issue with it.
There's a poll in the chat. How should the Steelers replace George Pickens? Trade for a wide receiver, sign a free agent, run with Woman Wilson, or draft a guy next year? Get you guys polls in the chat. How's the chat feel? Thoughts on GTA 6 trailer?
I'm going to be real. I have not seen it yet.
I briefly looked at it. I'll buy it. I mean, of course I'm going to buy it.
You got to wait an extra year, that's for sure.
Listen, I saw it and it didn't hype me. They delayed it. They delayed the release a year.
Yes, they did.
They delayed the release for 2026 when it was supposed to be this year. And it's just, it's just one of those things where when it comes out, I'll buy it. I'm not really excited about it. The trailer didn't really wow me. How do you think Shedeur Sanders will do? I am curious. Will he be Baker Mayfield? No. Shedeur Sanders' ceiling is still Geno Smith. If he reaches that for Cleveland, that's good enough for Cleveland.
Good enough.
Geno Smith's solid. He's not crazy.
No, be solid. I mean, I think he'll do fine with Pete Carroll and the Raiders over there. But Sanders, I mean, he's going to have to build his way up for sure. He's got to beat out Kenny Pickett. He's got to beat out Dylan Gabriel. He's got to beat out Joe Flacco. You got to beat out a lot of guys if he really wants to be legendary.
Joe Flacco is going to be the starter, bro. Do the Steelers take Carnell Lake next year? It's in consideration, depending on where he ends up. It's very much in consideration.
Trade for Cortland Sutton? I'm not going down that pool again. Denver's not getting rid of Cortland Sutton.
They're not. I love the idea. We preached about it all off season last year. Trade for Cortland Sutton. Trade for Cortland Sutton. The Broncos never did it. Why would they do it now?
No, Sean Payne ain't doing that. It's obvious why. Bo Nix stood out. Sutton was a great target for him.
Let me see. What's up with the chat? Not gonna lie, I was crashing out when I woke up. I'm okay now. My only issue is if we're doing all this for picks, that puts a lot of faith on the quarterback evaluation team, which has proven nothing thus far.
If you're
True.
not down with that,
Oh, we know that, Ben.
True.
we got 2 words for you.
Logan Paul is the next Randy Orton. Love him or hate him. I don't see Randy Orton.
No, I never saw that in
Logan Paul is the only Logan Paul. How about that? You can't compare anyone to Randy. Randy Orton is still generational. I can't wait for that match on Saturday, by the way.
Honestly,
The match might be garbage.
The build up has been fine. It's been very good. The match, I mean, we're talking two
45-year
old ass veterans right here in the wrestling ring.
Let's put it this way.
I'm not expecting much in the match, but I hope they tell a good story.
Let's put it this way. We were watching them as kids live for SummerSlam. What year was that?
2007.
Oh my God.
2007.
18 motherfucking years later.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, we've seen all their matches. The Hell in a Cell, the Iron Man. Didn't they have an I Quit match?
They did. They did. Great. That was probably their best match. I remember watching all that live as a kid, and now we're seeing them one last time, apparently.
Yep. It will be the last time.
I'm going to have a bunch of Bush Apple, and I'm going to enjoy myself on Saturday night. Let me tell you. Hector.
I got something brewing for food, too, by the way.
I look forward to that. Hector says, greetings from Mexico. We need players who want to play for the team. You're right.
Hell yeah.
And that's why Tomlin was probably, if the rumor's true, the head of it.
If you're not down with that, we've got 2 words for you.
I see, Tony, I disagree. I don't think he's the final member of the new evolution. I don't.
Well, Paul?
Yeah. The new one.
Yeah, well, Rollins and Breaker and Heyman.
I don't.
Yeah, like, there's no doubt that a third man will be in there based off the ending of Raw this past Monday. I just don't know who. I mean, storyline-wise, it would make sense for it to be Paul since he's fighting Jay for the title. I don't know if they do that, though.
The Alaskan dude says, do you think people are overhyping Arch Manning? All I see is Bronny James situation. See, you can't really overhype anything because he hasn't done anything. He was a freshman sitting behind Quinn Ewers last year.
Yeah, he's had very minimal action.
No, I mean, I wouldn't see it as a Bronny James situation. I see it as like another Shedeur Sanders situation where they were banking him on just his last name and not skill level, skill set. That's where I see it. But there's not really much to overhype or hype at all because he hasn't done anything. He played a couple series. He played a couple games last year and looked solid. But, he hasn't done much.
Well, this is his year to prove it.
And he's going to be the starter. He's obviously going to be the starter. Quinn Ewers got drafted by who? The Dolphins?
In the 7th round.
Oof. Not Tay says, why didn't we at least trade him on draft night and take wide receiver? We could have had Matthew Golden. You're right. We could have, and I still love the Derek Harmon pick. But yeah, looking back at it,
it would have been like very Martavis Bryant-esque, but no teams were budging. They weren't interested at the time. To which I feel like if you weren't going to trade him come draft night, then you should have just kept him at least until the trade deadline.
Right.
Early November. That's my honest opinion. That's the way I feel at the very least.
Diana Ruzini did say Dallas offered a 4th. Steelers weren't going to take him for a 4th. Not in the draft.
Yeah.
So once they upped the offer to a 3rd, Steelers like, you know what? Fine. We'll do it. We don't have no one, but we'll do it.
Just an odd kind of timing.
First of all, I think a 3rd and a 2027 5th is solid value. I think that's solid value for George Pickens. I think it really is. The trade itself, I have no problem with. The trade itself, I'm not that's not why I'm complaining. It's just, man, we have no one to fill the void. That's the issue here, at least with me.
That man is Robert Woods, Danny.
Who?
Robert Woods.
This
Super Bowl champion Robert Woods.
Bro, I went from wide receiver rooms like Juju and AB and Bryant to this.
We got Metcalf.
Yeah, Metcalf's cool, but wow.
Time
marches on.
It's a different year, dude.
A 4th
different quarterback, different running backs, different receivers. Like the whole offense has changed.
Somber says because a 4th wasn't good enough, they were realistically looking for a 2nd. Well, realistically, that wasn't realistic, was it?
No, that was never going to happen.
I wish that would have happened. Because we'd be
ain't it weird? Like you look at the receivers that the Steelers trade away: Bryant, AB, Deontay, Chase, Pickens. Can't you believe that Chase Claypool is the one that got the most value out of that? A 2nd rounder?
Yeah. Because the Bears are stupid.
They believed in Big Play Clay.
They sure did. That's a throwback.
Good old Big Play Clay for, what was it, 2020? Yeah. What are you pointing at?
Clock's running down, 35 seconds.
What was his nickname? Mapletron?
Yes.
I hope he's doing well.
Because he had the same size and build as Megatron, Calvin Johnson. Aaron Derrick says, I fully believe KJ, which is Caleb Johnson, will Be a solid playmaker. Improvement over Najee, in my opinion. I agree. I think he is an improvement. I think he's an improvement in every aspect, actually. Literally every aspect. Except maybe pass pro. But they can work on that. They can easily work on that. They did it. They did it with Najee. They did it with Connor. You know, it's not going to be an issue in a year or two's time.
No, and with Eddie Faulkner as a running back coach, he's been a running back coach for years. I mean, he's developed some pretty solid running backs.
Yep.
You know, his resume, you know, I would say it's more so on the good than bad.
Not Tay. No, I have not heard about the salary cap. Apparently, it's around 110 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And who's going to be a free agent this year outside of Calvin Austin and Mark Robinson, Leal, Connor Hayward?
I wonder if I could check that right now.
Because I don't think they're losing anyone crazy. Say Amalu.
No,
they're not losing anyone crazy.
I don't think it's going to be a long laundry list like this past year.
So yeah, they're not. I don't think they're losing anyone crazy next year to the point that if they make a splash, they don't run the risk of losing out on comp picks. So next year, free agency, they better be more active than they were this year. There's a reason they weren't, and it's obvious for the comp picks. Next year, I don't think they're losing as much, so they should be active.
And let me see here. I think I can check
That's still what?
all teams.
9 months from now? 8 months from now?
Just about. Well, we're looking at Watt. If he doesn't get extended, I would imagine he will. Darius Slay, most likely, but whatever. Isaac Sayamalu, he's coming up. Cole Holcomb, he's coming up. Warren, he's coming up because he only signed the tender. Killebrew, Patterson, to which I'm still surprised Patterson's still here.
We're not losing anybody.
Elliott's probably the only one.
Yeah, Elliott, yeah.
Deshaun, but everybody else is literally depth.
Elliott and Watt, yeah.
Everybody else is depth, literally.
So it's like the priorities are Elliott and Watt.
Maybe Austin, depending on how he does.
But even then, maybe Roman Wilson could take a spot.
Maybe.
Our biggest problem is quarterback, more so than receiver. Well, yeah, we literally have no starting quarterback. That's going to be filled for next year. We all know that.
Mason Rudolph, bro.
Is this the worst team in the Mike Tomlin era?
Honestly, it might be. I mean, you don't have a quarterback. Is there really anything to look forward to?
I don't know. A lot of those defenses were pretty bad.
I know it was.
But at least we had Ben and AB and Bell.
Yeah.
That really kind of that more than balances it out. That actually fucking overlaps it. Yeah, maybe.
It might be.
Yeah, maybe.
Just based off talent and just like what to look forward to. Expectation, excitement, and whatnot. There's not really a whole lot.
EJ Marble in the chat says Steelers need to run to set up the pass and utilize the tight ends and running backs in the flat. Wide receivers are the product of rule changes, making them one-dimensional. George Pickens didn't buy into the whole game, not a blocker. Now, he was a blocker when he attempted to. The problem
he threw
was
his body at people.
The problem is he didn't really attempt to very often. Who remembers that Colts game where he could have had a block for Warren and he didn't? He just stood there.
Yep.
I remember that. I mean, that was 2023?
Yeah, 2023.
2023.
Yeah. That was when the Colts first beat us since, what was it, 2008? In Indianapolis at that?
Yeah.
I remember that game. The game where Tomlin decided not to let Boz kick a 57-yarder in a dome.
Yeah, Patterson's still on the team. I don't know why. He's the fourth running back right now. So, like, are you gonna be the number 2? Is that why Patterson's still here? That's exactly why Cordell Patterson's still here. He's going to be the number 2.
He wasn't the number 2 last year. What are you talking about?
Listen, he's going to have a chance this year. Don't
yes,
underestimate.
guys, yes. Hear us out. Hear me out. 33-year-old Robert Woods, 34-year-old Cordell Patterson. Season save, guys. You are just not going to believe it, dude. I swear to God. In 2020, maybe. Is this what we've resorted to?
Crazy. Connor Hayward taking up a spot, too. Bro, you know why he's taking up a spot. You know exactly why he's taking up a spot. would have hit in 2018. Yeah, but we had a better receiving room in 2018.
Yeah.
Man, we had a much better receiving room in 2018.
Yeah, we did.
AB and Juju alone. So frustrating that the Bengals have more playoff wins than the Steelers. It's also frustrating to hear from Clowns fans about how many days it's been since we last won a playoff game. Yeah, Nick Carnes.
As a matter of fact, Robert Woods has a more recent playoff win.
Robert Woods has a more recent playoff win. So does J.J. Watt. Keep in mind, he hasn't played since, 2019?
So does the current Boston College head coach, former Texans coach. What was his name? Bill O'Brien?
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah. Yeah, sad truths of the day.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin will probably still find a way to end up with a winning season. Bro, it's just the the Mike Tomlin black magic, the voodoo magic is just, I don't know. It's a mystery. It's a mystery, dude. I don't understand it.
It's one of those things that will never go away.
Oh, God, give me the keys and I'm making us contenders again. Bro, I have faith in you. Electric, I got faith in you, man. I got faith. I got faith in any of y'all. I don't know, man. I really don't know what the Steelers are doing, folks. I really don't. I'm just confused at their mindset. I'm not confused on why they traded him. That's not the confusion here. The confusion here is that they don't have no one, and they're still trying to sign Aaron Rodgers. What's the goal? What's the push? Is there a push? I really don't know what the Steelers are trying to do, man.
That's what has us leaving. That's what has us scratching our head, right?
The only way they'd have a losing season is if Thompson had to start all year. That's my quarterback. You think I'm playing? That's my quarterback. My fourth quarterback.
So, wait, he's the third right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking like we got Aaron Rodgers locked up.
It's Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Skylar Thompson. Fuck it, all in.
Let's go.
Let's go.
2025. Let's ride.
Let's do it.
Rudolph,
go out there, sling that son of a bitch.
Let's enjoy whatever comes out of it.
You know what's funny, though? Will Howard is now teammates again with Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, he is.
Fun fact, when Will Howard first got to Kansas State, he backed up Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, and now Skylar Thompson's backing up Will Howard.
Crazy stuff, they may have Howard start as a 3, most likely. So I guess you could say Howard's backing up Thompson again.
Well, as of now, he's the 2.
Howard or Thompson?
Howard.
I think they start him at 3.
No.
He should be 2, but because Thompson's a veteran.
No. You're telling me they're going to look at Will Howard and Skylar Thompson in camp and preseason. You're telling me that Will Howard's going to be the 3?
Well, Will Howard was a better quarterback in college, that's for sure.
Exactly.
So Howard should be the 2, but I'm just saying.
And this is if they don't sign Aaron Rodgers, by the way.
They shouldn't.
Howard's going to be the 2.
At this point, they shouldn't.
As of right now, he's the 2.
He should be the 2. Give him the chance. Give him a fair shot. Because if A-Rod comes, Howard will not get that. Straight up.
EJ, yes. Amari Cooper is still available. I would take him. He's one of the few receivers, and there wasn't a lot of good receivers, that I wanted in free agency. He's still available. They could do it. They could do it. Will they? Time's going to tell. Maybe that's, yes, Van Jefferson is available. Van Jefferson is available.
No, he's not.
No?
He's a Titan.
When did that happen?
This offseason.
He got signed? How does he keep finding a job? I mean, good for him, but bro, like, what's the value there? He didn't do squat.
Yeah, he is a Titan. Yes. Allen Robinson's a free agent, though.
No. Who will be the Steelers' most improved player next year? Ooh, good question. I'll tell you who it better be. His name's Broderick fucking Jones. That's who it better be. It better be Broderick.
Now, finally, at left tackle,
But who will be?
Keeping my fingers crossed.
The most improved?
On offense?
If we're talking offense, it better be Broderick, but it could be. I mean, there's not much that we're retaining from last year outside of the line and some of the receivers, and Warren and Muth.
I don't know.
I'm just gonna say Broderick.
Warren, maybe.
Otherwise, JPJ. Patrick Queen, for sure. Maybe Keanu Benton. Those are names that come off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Sign Rodgers and trade for Garrett Wilson. Give a first rounder for him and have 11 picks still. Then how are we trading up for a quarterback?
I wouldn't trade
a first.
I'm not trading a first for Garrett.
I'd trade 2/3 for him, but even then,
Yeah, I'm not trading a first for Garrett.
I love Garrett Wilson. I want to love Rodgers, but I love Garrett Wilson. Is this how it feels when your team has fully run out of hope and you know you're screwed? Shit, never mind. NVR? No, never in my life. I got you. Listen, it's been a long day. I'm kind of slow. But yes, this is how it feels when your team just drains a lot from me. Listen, I didn't expect much anyway, even if we kept Pickens. I didn't expect much anyway. But boy, now I got a different view of the Steelers and their view of what they're trying to do.
I at least had something coming into the season with the duo of GP and DK. Now I don't.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is, of course, DK's first year as a Steeler, Caleb Johnson, and maybe the growth of Roman Wilson and Broderick Jones.
And the whole
if
line.
there is any.
And the whole line.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's really all we got to look forward to.
And that's more so for future's sake, not this upcoming season.
Yeah,
that's for future's sake.
Yeah.
And I hope that they can run all the way with it.
Best available wide receivers are Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Gabe Davis, Nelson Aguilar, and Tyler Boyd. Give me Amari Cooper.
I'll take Cooper if I had to choose one, yeah.
Give me Amari Cooper.
He wants to play his old team twice a year? Why not?
What quarterback you want to take at 16 or 17? Are you saying we will be a top 5 or top 7 pick? Well, if you're trading, all right, CW, if you're trading your first, you got to have to trade up for a quarterback, you need your own first.
Your confusion.
You need your own first. Otherwise, you're trading so many first for that guy, and that's asking a little too much. A little too much. Now, if you're not trading the first for a receiver and you're using that first for another first to trade up, you're looking probably in the top, 12, 13 range.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends how the Steelers want to do it. Let's say they're at 20, 21, 22 all over again, right? Maybe 19, maybe 18. We don't know how the season's going to go. They could, instead of making one humongous trade, they could milk their way up up the board, where instead of making one humongous trade and trading so much, they can make a few more smaller, more digestible trades that allows them to move up.
Could do that.
Isn't that what the Bills did for Josh Allen?
I think they did. Yeah, they didn't have to trade up too crazy. They still got their guy.
That could be what they do. It'd be a lot smarter. They wouldn't have to trade as much. Never forget Pickens, 2 touchdowns, 197-yard game against the Bengals. And who was the quarterback for that?
Mason Rudolph.
My guy. Rafael says, trust the process, fellas.
If I could figure out what that process is.
Yeah, my benefit of the doubt that I'm giving the Steelers is there's got to be something more to this. They have to have someone in mind, someone set to fill the void. And that's in regards to them signing someone or trading for someone. Or maybe their mindset is, hey, Roman, be our tribal chief. And listen, if he's the guy that we got to run with, listen, I acknowledge my tribal chief. But
in the Roman Empire reigns supreme?
That's asking a lot. That's asking a lot.
Can he be the big dog?
The big dog? Those days are over, right?
Well, someone's got to be the big dog.
What's the point of
Can't just be Metcalf.
What's the point of getting head case Rodgers? Give me a break. Tomlin is going to fuck up whoever the quarterback is. I don't trust the quarterback evaluation team. I don't. Listen, they're not good at it. They did an awful job with Kenny Pickett, bro.
Well, they try to rely on Mitch because first round pedigree.
Oh yeah, that part. And then they were so locked in on a quarterback that they literally looked at everyone in the worst quarterback draft class maybe ever. Wow.
Very bad.
Wow, man.
Reached for one, tried to run with him, didn't work out.
Pickens will crash out when he realizes Dak doesn't have confidence throwing the 50-50 ball, just as Dez Bryant. Yeah, that's the thing with Pickens. He's never going to mature. He'll be better utilized probably, but he's never going to mature. I wish him all the best. I thank him for everything. I sincerely do.
Of course.
At the end of the day, yeah, I mean, his Pittsburgh run was short.
But had some great memories, had some great games.
I'll
Great
remember
moments.
I'll remember him for a lot of great moments, a lot of circus catches, and, you know, being a very good wide receiver, you know. I'll view him as being underutilized and still putting up good performances, but I'll also view it as too immature. He never grew up, and that's why the Steelers got rid of him.
Yeah.
That's why the Steelers traded him.
Listen, at the end of the day, I hope he gets better. I hope he grows as a person, as a player. I hope he succeeds outside of being a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah.
Whether that's with the Cowboys or after the Cowboys season, he could go into free agency and bet on himself and go with another team. Whatever Pickens desires to do. I just wish him the best and hope that he gets better.
Right. Rob Lightfoot says, my 3 ideas, Alan Lazard, Romeo Dobbs, or Chris Olave. See, with Olave, I mean, too many concussions. I like Romeo Dobbs. Alan Lazard's a no from me. I'd rather sign Davis or Keenan Allen or
Murray Cooper.
Cooper. I'm just out on Alan Lazard. I don't think that's a possibility.
No. He can stay in New York.
The fact that we're even looking at Alan Lazard as a name is hilarious.
That's all because of A-Rod and the ties. That's why.
He was a good receiver and an immature fight starter. Both are true. Vince, both are very true. Skip Jalen Hurts for a guy with a slick back mullet and one glove. Yeah, sure did. Now, granted, Hurts wasn't going to have the same success. I'm telling you right now. Hurts is exactly where he needs to be. He was never going to have the same success. Never. You're telling me you're going to put Jalen Hurts with Matt Canada? Get out of here. Stop.
You're not getting Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts.
Yes, we skipped on Lamar. Yes, we skipped on Jalen Hurts. I know. And it's more so the idea that the Steelers didn't plan for life after that. That's the part here. They didn't plan for life after Ben, which is why we're still in the situation we are. But the reality is neither of them were going to find the same success that they've had in the NFL because our coaching sucks. You're going to put Lamar Jackson with Randy Fickner. You're going to put Jalen Hurts with Matt Canada. Get out of here.
Yeah, they were never going to figure out how to properly use them.
Get out of here.
They were always going to use them in the way that they wanted to use them, how they felt they should have used them, instead of using them to the point where they're best utilized at.
Now, could they be better utilized with, like, who we have now and Arthur Smith? They have to be.
I'd like to think so. I mean, like, anything's better than Matt Canada.
I think Jalen Hurts is a quintessential quarterback for an Arthur Smith scheme. So, in that sense, that could have worked out. That could have worked out. So, looking back at it, yeah, we did. We did take Chase Claypool over Jalen Hurts.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we did, man.
Why were the Steelers so fearful of drafting Ben's replacement under Ben? Was it going to hurt Ben's feelings? Who gives a fuck? Did the Packers feel that way about Aaron Rodgers? They didn't care.
Well, Ben was the QB. They felt that he still had it in him, and Ben had a lot of say.
Yeah.
He did. And I love Ben. That's all I know at quarterback is Ben.
Yeah.
But Ben, you know, he had an ego. You know what I mean?
Sure
yeah,
did.
He had one.
We are better now. The wide receiver room has adults now, not Malcusins. I don't know if I pronounced that right. That run lazy routes when he isn't the number one target, nor do we have a guy that may hold out or even worse, be like Bell and not play at all in 26. From a maturity aspect, I agree with you.
I can't name you one headache in the locker room. I will say that.
Everyone's going to say DK. I don't think DK is as bad as Pickens. Not saying he's a saint. Not saying he's an angel. But he's not as bad as Pickens.
No.
I don't look at DK and see him running lazy routes or showing bad body language that he don't want to be on the field, that he just doesn't care. I don't see that with DK. I don't. We saw that too much with George Pickens. And again, that wasn't going to change. That's why they trade him, man. Incredible talent. Incredible talent, man. You know, when I look at the previous receivers that the Steelers have drafted, Claypool, Juju, Deontay. Who else am I missing? Pickens, obviously, right?
Yeah.
You look at some of the more recent day 2 receivers that the Steelers drafted. You compare their skill set and their impact and what they did on the field compared to Pickens. Pickens beats him out every time. Pickens is too good. Pickens is really, like, when he is on his A game and he actually gives it a shit and he gives it 110%, bro, you won't find a better receiver on the field. But that's the problem. He doesn't give it 110% every single down. That's why they got rid of him. Love the guy. I wish him the best. I would have been cool if they kept him, but it's just too much where the guy isn't showing progress. The guy isn't growing up. We aren't going to keep him. Adios, amigo. Have fun in Dallas with Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy and Brian, what's his name?
Brian Schottenheimer.
Schottenheimer.
Yeah, that's going to pan out.
Dak Prescott, right? Have fun over there.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas were to be on Hard Knocks, if they haven't already. I could see it.
I don't know who's going to be up next.
I don't know. I
don't know
don't
who's
even
gonna
watch
be
the
up
show
next.
to begin with. I didn't even watch one episode of when the Steelers were on the AFC North season. I didn't watch one episode.
Yeah.
Never,
No, me neither.
Never caught my eye.
No, me neither. But yeah, like I guess we're gonna finish it off here, man. Pickens is gone. He's officially not a Pittsburgh Steeler, and I don't think he ever will be again. So his days in Pittsburgh and the Steel City are done. Remember him how you want to remember him. I'll remember him as being a very good receiver with so much potential. He was very underutilized. I love what he did on the field. It's just he was too much of a handful for the coaching. The fact that he just didn't care enough. He never grew up. And that factor, that's why he was traded. And I agree. And that's why I was always open to getting rid of him, because I knew he was never going to be a true professional or a true adult the way that he needs to in the NFL. And I still don't think he ever will. I wish him the best, but I don't think he'll ever grow up in that sense. So they trade him. They trade him for an offer that they wanted for this year's draft, never got, but they got now, and they just couldn't refuse. So that's why they trade him. And for that factor, I don't disagree with that. It's just, bro.
Bad timing.
Bad timing, and you needed someone to replace him, and you don't. They could have drafted someone. They didn't. They didn't. And they're stuck in the same situation they were last year. That's pretty much the platform that the Steelers are at now at the wide receiver room.
Yeah, if they had a proper plan and set, which again they still may. We've regurgitated that statement several times in this stream, but I don't know what their plan is. If they had a plan heading into the draft of selecting a receiver, this would have been more digestible, would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, you have something in mind, you have a plan, you're going to see if it works. Now the new plan is to run with Robert Woods as your wide receiver 2 and to see if Roman Wilson can take that leap. Take a chance on number 10.
Yep.
And I can only hope that Roman Wilson does, because he's got the pedigree, he's got the national championship mindset, he's got the mentality. He oozes work ethic. The guy is a hard worker. He tried to work hard, work his way back from the initial injury. We can only hope that he recovers well from the injury that he dealt with, and he's ready to go.
I agree.
I look forward to see what Roman Wilson does, but Pickens is gone. I can only wish him the best in Dallas, wish him the best in life. I'll forever remember that 2023 season where he had 1,000 yards.
Yep.
He had some great moments, great games, great catches against the Ravens, the Bengals, the Seahawks. He was a good player, just a nutcase, a headache.
But he also had a lot of low-effort games. So
The Steelers tried, and he just wasn't giving them enough. He wasn't giving him 110%.
yeah, and that's the truth. That's the cold hard facts is he wasn't giving the Steelers enough. Now, I'll also throw in that the Steelers weren't throwing him enough proper plays or routes or whatever, but all in all, it was too much for the Steelers, and they got rid of him. They tried to give him everything they could in the locker room and on the field, and maybe not everything on the field, but in the locker room in the sense of new coaching and leaders at the quarterback position. It didn't boost Pickens so much, so they got rid of him.
We'll see what he does in Dallas.
Pickens is gone. Good luck in Dallas. Have fun with CD. Have fun with Dak. Jerry Jones, thanks for the 3rd-round pick, I guess. Pleasure doing business.
We'll see what the Steelers can do with it come Pittsburgh time for the draft.
But there's got to be something to this. Whether that's Robert Woods and Roman Wilson, or that's them signing someone or trading for someone, obviously time will tell. But
I would say it's ideal to bring in another receiver. In what way or fashion, I don't know. Who? Couldn't tell you. I just hope that they do.
But as of now, man, yeah, the Steelers are in the same situation at the receiver room that they were in this time last year, and that's awful. That's awful now. We'll see what they do next. There's got to be another move after this. There better be.
Yeah.
There's no way you trade a guy like George Pickens and don't have someone else in mind to fill that role, even if it's just for this upcoming year.
That's right.
Or maybe they really want to give Roman Wilson all of the reps possible.
In that case, they should. Have him play with the first.
I don't know.
Have him get the opportunities. Give him the chance.
Oh,
Let him showcase.
He's going to get the chance, that's for sure. And I'm excited for him. But adios, Pickens, man. Been a pleasure. Been fun watching. Been fun reacting to a lot of his crazy stuff. But it's also been a little much of a headache. Listening, seeing, watching, reading a bunch of all the other nonsense.
I mean, many times we talked about on this channel.
Sure did. It's just we can't get away from the wide receiver drama. And maybe that's what Steelers are trying to do. Maybe they're trying to get away from everything. Maybe they want actual professionals and mature guys in that room to lead a young offensive core on that field.
Yeah, trying to get the old Kevin Colbert wide receiver diva stank out the locker room. Get some refreshment in that locker room.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I don't hate the trade itself. I don't.
Neither do I.
It's not a matter that they traded him. I don't hate the trade.
But for the last time of this, it's just the timing is just confusing.
The time is confusing, and it's the fact that if you had the idea to get rid of him, draft somebody.
I have a plan in mind, plan is set, but we'll see what the future holds.
I can only hope that they have someone in mind and someone in set to take his spot. That isn't on the roster right now. They need to add someone. At the end of the day, despite how you feel about it, they need to add someone. It's not going to be the complete fix, I don't think, unless it's another blockbuster trade, but they need to add someone. The receiving position is still not a complete fix. They need to add someone. We'll see who that is. If you guys have anyone in the chat, I know a lot of you guys have been throwing out, like Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen. Who else? Gabe Davis, Tyreek Hill. Brandon Ayuk's name's getting involved all over again. Here we go again. Never ends. It's crazy. We literally just finished the wide receiver rumors. And right back we are.
Right back into that pool.
It doesn't end, folks. It doesn't end. The trade rumors, the trade talks with the Steelers, they don't freaking end. It doesn't end. But before we go on out of here, man, we want to thank you guys for joining us, man. Appreciate you guys as always. It's our first live stream since the draft. Didn't think it was going to be this, but here we are. Here we are, man. Had all day to ponder. These are our thoughts about George Pickens, man. Appreciate you guys for coming in and interacting. Let us know your guys' opinions through the polls, through the live chat, through everything, man. We appreciate y'all. What is your guys' feeling for this upcoming season? I want to end the stream with that. What is your final feeling about this upcoming season? This should be interesting. Justin Watson says, I'm glad the headache is gone too, but not having someone replace him is not learning from your mistakes. I thought not reaching on a quarterback meant they learned from previous missteps. That's the issue, man. At least that's our issue. Oh, God, this should be interesting. No more wide receiver fighting, cussing out fans, and damn near scrapping teammates. Yeah, that's no more. That's no mas. Maybe he said something really stupid. I don't know. I don't know. Trade for Alan Lazard? I don't think that's an option. Jamal says, fire Tomlin. Robert says, I think this is a huge mistake. Art says, there's no one free agent. We need a trade. Okay, Art. Who? Yeah, fire Tomlin. It's not too late. You're right. It's not too late. They're just not going to do it. Mark Cooper's a free agent. Woods is 33 years old. I think we're going to suck. 9-8. Fire Tomlin. He's still better than Robinson. Not happy right now, says David. I'm not expecting anything this upcoming season, says Isaiah. Makina says frustration ahead. Yes. Sommer says, my feeling, I feel like we'll go 9-8 because that's who we are. No expectations other than that, to be honest. Me too. Me too. I'm right there with you. This is like being a Cowboys fan. Well, I think Cowboys are a lot happier now than some of us might be.
You know what's the crazy part? They might have a worse record than the Steelers.
Ironically, yes. You never know. It's a tank season symbol. Don't bring up undrafted free agents or players from the 90s. Vaughn says defense will be superb. Run game will be great. Landing on the quarterback will be interesting. 11-7 record. That's bold. That's bold. Listen, we're going to.
And Caleb Johnson and Jalen Warren, dude. Matthew's been a member for 29 months. Shout out to Matthew. Says we should tank this season. LOL. Such a random trade.
Yeah.
It's a random time.
Avery says, I think everyone is going to be shocked what the Steelers are going to do this year. Really? Listen, I have zero expectation. Already didn't, especially now don't. So I don't know. Still 8 in the box and number 1 getting bracketed. Levi, what's up, man? Art says, my feelings were hopeful prior to today. Why not wait till trade deadline when you possibly could have got a second if he was performing well? That's what Rob wanted. That's what Rob brought up. He wanted the Steelers to hold on a little bit till the trade deadline.
I would have taken that chance. I would have.
Vegas said, listen to the team reporters talk about him. They say and hear what's going on in the team locker room. Yeah. And it was never really good regarding Pickens and his attitude, obviously. I mean, that's why he fell in 2022. The Steelers knew that. And they still drafted him. Will Khan flush coaching staff before next year's draft? No. I don't think it will. They didn't do anything this year. They didn't flush nothing this year. Nothing.
No.
They changed all the fucking offense outside the line and Muth and some of the receivers.
It's a whole different look on the offense.
But the coaching stays.
Yeah.
I don't know how that makes sense. Getting rid of a catcher to the team is not random. Cam Johnson against a stack box. Name a better duo. Najee in a stack box. Second to Najee.
That'd be a toss play at that. You ready to see Caleb Johnson take a toss?
Trade makes 0 sense. Boo this team, please. It doesn't make sense when you don't have a replacement. That's for sure. This season we will all be alcoholics. Listen, I got 3 cases of Bush Apple on the side. I might hold that up till August.
Well, it's a limited edition, isn't it? Because I don't drink.
It is limited edition.
Yeah, you might want to store that.
They need to make this like a permanent sale. Claypool was announcing his replacement. Yeah, and they're both gone. There are people who can be glad they've gotten over the immature GP stuff, but upset they're done nothing to prepare for what felt inevitable. You couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it better. Jamal says, I'm no longer excited about this season. I mean, I never was. The problem is they don't have a plan, but they feel they do. Listen, I don't know if they do. If the Steelers feel like they have a plan, then
you better go out there and do it. But I'm not hanging my hat on.
We better see it in a month's tops.
I don't want another Brandon Ayuk situation where it's just dragged. The Aaron Rodgers situation is that
they're making it really hard to be a fan, says Corey. Ooh, I hear
Hey,
you.
listen, I'll rep the black and gold through good and bad, man.
Justin, yes, Bush Apple is a thing. They just released it like last week. But everything in Anheuser in St. Louis, everything like what they shipped out was everything. So if you can find it, go get it. Drink responsibly, by the way. Never drink and drive.
Yes.
Levi, who do we have at wide receiver? I will tell you. We have, this is the greatest wide receiver core I've ever seen, man. We have DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Robert Woods, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, Ben Skoranek, Brandon Johnson, Lance McCutcheon,
And Rock Taylor. Are you ready to be rocked, Dan?
Listen, bro, Rock Taylor better have a Victor Cruz preseason. That's not my expectation, but that's my beg. That's a beg.
He's got the size. I'll give him that. He's got a great stature for his position. Can he stick out?
Levi, I'm serious. I'm dead serious right now.
Search it up. It's right there, yeah. That's our receiving room. Let me ask you, Dan, before we head on out of here. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Is it worse than last year? Is the receiving room this year, heading into this year, worse than last year was?
What's the difference?
Well, last year was
Pickens and Van.
Pickens, Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, Mike Williams after the trade deadline, Ben Skoranek.
Oh,
and
no.
then you had Scotty Miller and rotations.
This is gonna be another mid-season trade deadline trade for a receiver. Oh god.
And then this year you got yeah.
Levi, listen, you don't gotta be optimistic because we aren't. Also, they need to realize Mike Tomlin's not going to win you a Super Bowl. I please.
They should have been realized that this past offseason.
The day they realize that is the day that they take a massive leap.
The day that they realize that is doomsday.
Mason was resigned to be the excuse why they tanked sore testicles incoming. I don't know why. He was resigned because they had no one there.
Yeah, they begged Mason to come back.
What do you mean, Frazier? Zach Frazier? He is a stud.
He's my center.
That's my center.
Zach Frazier? Hell yeah. I'm always appreciative of that man. Zach Frazier, hell yeah.
If I had to answer, is the wide receiver position better than last year? Now? Yes.
Is that just because of Metcalf?
Well, I think Calvin's good. I think Calvin had a very underrated year last year.
All right.
Yes, DK is better than Pickens, so automatically, yes, it is better than last year.
We also got older though too.
But it's quite literally like the same.
But
It's the same.
we got older, dude.
It's the same situation.
Yeah.
It's the same situation, yes. We got older, but we got a better number one that's here for the next 5 years. And that's about it. We were literally in the same situation.
I see no difference except a better number one and an older number two. That's all I see.
Otherwise, and listen, I'm talking about from a year ago. This time, not after we trade for Mike Williams. The better question is: Robert Woods better than Van Jefferson?
Yeah,
Is he?
but how much?
Not by much.
By a crumb. I mean, neither had 300 yards last year. So,
I'll tell you what, the wide receiver position was definitely much better. Quite literally, like 15 hours ago. 15 hours ago, the wide receiver was definitely much
at
better.
6 o'clock in the morning, it was fine, just as we expected. 6:30, forget that shit.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, it's quite literally the same. It's literally the same.
Yeah, well,
What's the difference?
there is none.
You show me pictures of each wide receiver. I'm thinking, oh, it's the same picture. What's the difference?
That Office meme. It's the same picture.
God almighty. I don't know, man. It's 8:30 over here. How long have we been live?
A little over 2 hours.
2.25 hours, man. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting out of here. We're gonna call it a night. What a day. What a day. News that nobody saw coming. There wasn't even any warning. It just happened. Most of y'all woke up and it just happened. Can't imagine y'all's reaction.
Put me in some mood this morning. Really set the tone for today.
Sure did. With that being said, man,
I'll sleep it off.
I'll drink it off. I'll tell you right now.
All right, you do that, brother.
Anyway, y'all have a great rest of your night. Appreciate you guys for joining us as always, man. If you're new, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. We'll have a video regarding probably Jack Sawyer, maybe Aaron Rodgers, whenever that comes, if it ever comes, Lord knows.
Yeah, maybe the next live stream is Aaron Rodgers finally signed. At this point, don't even bother.
Yeah, 2 months from now.
Don't even bother. Stay retired, or just retire and stay retired.
Yeah.
Stay away.
That's what. This is the last. I promise. This is the last thing I'll say. I am just drained of anything, of everything. I don't care anymore. This might be the lowest I've felt as a Steelers fan.
Same goes for me, double.
There you go. Y'all have a great rest of your night. See you in the next one. At the end of the day, here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!